Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Adjacent, go to samtripoli.gold. Use the promo code Tinfoil and get in on the precious metals game for as little as $50 a month. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Very excited to have this next guest on. And today we're going to get into a little COVID. Flus, asteroids, you name it. We're going to get into all of it, and we're excited to have one of the best that does it. I follow him on, I think you're still on Twitter. I haven't seen you for a while, but I know I follow you unless they blocked me. Last time I was here, we were just talking. It was 5 years ago or 10 XG kids ago. And he's back for more. Very excited to have him on. Please welcome the one and only John Cullen. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. Great to see you guys. Thanks for having me back.
So, John, those who weren't familiar with your last appearance many years ago, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where our listeners can find you?
Sure. Well, I came on Tinfoil Hat, I guess, about 5 years ago. It was 2020. And back then we were talking about the Vegas shooting and, the helicopters and all that kind of stuff. And we were kind of, I guess, in the early throes of COVID. I don't think any of us knew it was going to last as long as it did. I kind of accidentally got into independent journalism, investigative journalism because of the Vegas shooting, and it ended up turning into my career. I never really thought that was going to happen, but it did. And, what are you going to do? So I'm on Twitter. You guys can find me at I_am_John Cullen, JOHNCULLEN, I_am_John Cullen. And that's it. So I've got about 130,000 followers.
Look at you. That's awesome.
Yeah. And interesting to see who they recommend that you follow if you follow me. So the thing that happened was, you see that map above my head on the Twitter page? Yeah. So kind of the weird thing that was happening was I was really focused on the Vegas shooting, man. I was like a one-trick pony. It was the only thing I was really doing, was the Vegas shooting. And then with the COVID thing, that map we were just looking at, 35 years ago, I worked at Oracle. And building that mapping system was one of the first projects I worked on. That's my software.
That's crazy.
I built it. My team built it. All right. So when I saw they were using this, I was like, you're kidding me. I mean, imagine bumping into your first car, Sam. All right. From when you were like 17, 16 years old, right? The first car you spent $1,500, $1,200, $2,000.
$800.
There you go.
It blew up the same day.
All right. So my first car that I bought with my money was a 1971 240Z. And it was a beater, man. It was a disaster. But it was a 240Z and it had stick shift, so it was cool as could be. All right, so imagine running into that first $800 car now. And everybody's like, we can't figure out how to start it. We can't figure out how to start it. And you're like, idiots, that's because I put a kill switch underneath the passenger seat, you morons. Nobody looked under the passenger seat for a kill switch. That's what this was like for me. So I see this mapping thing, and I look in the lower right-hand corner, and it says ESRI. That was my project. Not like I was on the team. That was my project. Like, I'm the guy who got paid the most money on the ESRI deal.
That's crazy.
All right, so I'm the guy, right? So I put this thing together, and I see that Johns Hopkins is using it.
Damn.
All right, so do me a favor. So, Johnny, you're doing the browser stuff, Johnny, and pulling that stuff up. You're doing it? Yeah.
XG's.
Oh,
We
XG's
live
doing it?
dangerous on the show.
Well, you let
Xavier.
XG near the keyboard? Oh my
Yeah,
God. All right.
yeah, I know.
All
It's
right,
like
so
crazy.
XG, do me a favor.
Everyone knows.
If
Everybody
I can't
knows.
find it, John, you'll find it anyways.
I was going to say, so XG, do me a favor. Search Twitter, in my handle, put in, at I am John Cullen, and then put in Hong Kong. All right, so you're searching for my handle and Hong Kong, and see if you get anything that comes up with a map. And we're going to show everybody this, because this was the beginning of the wheels falling off the wagon, man. This was the beginning of me kind of taking over for Edward Snowden and Julian Assange as being probably public enemy number one at Langley and at Fort Meade. All right, so this is it right there. So the net of it is, I'm looking at the mapping system, and I'm like, there's 4 people dead in Hong Kong? Why are you declaring a global pandemic? What do you mean there's 4 dead in Hong Kong? I never heard of Wuhan, guys. I never heard of it. Forgive me if I'm a moron, Never heard of Wuhan. So I went and looked at Hong Kong. And I said, there's not 10 dead in Hong Kong? And there's not 10 dead in Shanghai? I thought that was weird.
No, it's totally crazy. And again, even when they start to slow roll it out, those videos are just like, looking back, it's like, what were we?
The thing that was freaking me out was I'm like, so first of all, I'm a whistleblower. I built the system. I'm looking at the map. Go back, XG. Scroll down a little bit more. See if you can just pull up one that just has like a picture of the Hong Kong map with no video. There should be posts from me about Hong Kong that just have like a picture of the map. And there's 4 people dead. And I'm looking at this and going, I'm the guy who built the map. Everybody's heard of Hong Kong, right? There you go. Perfect. Okay. So you're looking at this thing and you're like, all right, so where's all the dead people? If there's not 10 dead in Hong Kong and there's not 10 dead in Shanghai, why is the map so red? Nobody's green? Nobody's yellow?
Everybody's yellow, actually.
Well, I'm talking about, look at Africa, look at Europe, look at the Middle East. Everywhere is a disaster. What? In the computer business, we make stuff red, yellow, and green. Green is everything's fine. Yellow means it's almost a disaster, and red means it's a mess. Why is it everything red? So I click on Hong Kong, there's not 10 dead. I click on Shanghai, there's not 10 dead. I click on Beijing, there's not 10 dead. Like, all right, what the? Why are you declaring a global pandemic? The map you have up right now, XG, is from March 13th of 2020. That's the day that Trump declares a national emergency in all 50 states. There's not 25 people dead in Japan. No city in China has 25 dead, other than Wuhan. And I'm going, what is going on here? Who built this map and made everything red so that everybody would freak out, even though there's not really anybody dead anywhere other than Wuhan? And that's what opened up the Pandora's box. And so I start reporting this, and next thing you know, I get an email from a lawyer in Geneva, Switzerland.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so you can take the map down now, actually, and we'll just go back. So I get an email from a guy in Geneva, Switzerland, who tells me he's a patron of mine. I got Patreon and Subscribestar, right? So he sends me a thing. And he says, yeah, I'm a patron of yours, and what would you think of going on Laura Ingram's show on Fox News? And I'm like, at the time, if you guys remember when we did the show 5 years ago, I was incognito. I was wearing a black hat and glasses. I didn't want anybody to recognize me in the streets. That. I didn't want people to walk up to me and say, hey, you're John Cullen, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna shank you right here in Home Depot. So I didn't want that to happen. So I was, incognito. But the gravity of the stuff I was reporting on with COVID got to a point where I just said, I got to put my personal safety at risk. in order to be taken more seriously. People weren't taking me seriously because I was dressed like the Unabomber. In fact, I looked a little bit like Johnny Woodard over here. I looked a little like Johnny, just, but I was wearing dark glasses.
Yeah. Johnny's
Right?
always incognito.
Right. So, so I'm there with the hat and the glasses and the beard and everything, and nobody's taking it seriously. And in fact, Adam Curry from MTV
did a great podcast.
So he did a thing. He's talking to John C. Dvorak, and he saw me do a show on Tommy's podcast with Dr. Dave Collum and Dr. Scott Jensen. And I explained to them the stuff I found, which I'll explain to you guys in 2 seconds. And Adam Curry is telling John Dvorak, he's like, people tell me I got to watch this video. I got to watch this video. I got to watch this video. And it's 2.5 hours long, and the guy's in a hat and sunglasses. And Adam Curry's like, dude, like, really? Come on. The guy's in a hat and glasses, and I got to watch this thing. And so that really made an impact on me, and I was like,
great. The Podfather.
And I'm thinking, so people aren't taking this stuff seriously because I'm trying to protect my own ass, basically. I'm trying to protect my own life. And I'm old. It's time to die. This is the hill I'm going to die on. So what the hell? Bring it. Bring it. You guys want to play Julian Assange? You're going to try and carry me out of here? Yeah, I'm much better armed than Julian Assange. We ain't going to play that game. I'm not going peacefully.
Yes,
I'm not going peacefully. I'll kill you all. Because I didn't commit any crime. So here's the difference between Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and me. I didn't sign anything. I didn't promise anybody anything. I never worked for the government. I did work for Oracle. People think that means you worked for the CIA. I was a young guy. I worked at Oracle. What do I know? And we're building maps. If the CIA was funding Oracle, it didn't say that on my paychecks. It said Oracle. So, when you're 20-something years old and you work at Oracle, it's like when you're 20-something years old and you work at Google. Do you realize you're really working for the CIA? And that Eric Schmidt is the guy who visits the White House more than anybody else, So it's that kind of thing. So you're young, impressionable, and they pay you $600 a month car allowance. This is in the 80s, guys.
Damn.
This is in 1988. And I'm getting a $600 a month car allowance. I'm in my 20s. In addition to my salary, Larry Ellison knows how to get commitment out of people. You overpay them, and they know they're overpaid. And nobody left the office before 9 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I mean, we worked like lunatics there. But none of us really realized, this is like an arm of the CIA. We bragged about the CIA being a customer. So we would tell people, the CIA trusts us, so you probably should too, right? Well, how tough is that? So anyway, we build this mapping system. I see that Johns Hopkins is using it. There's nobody dead anywhere. Why the hell is the WHO declaring a global pandemic if there's not 10 dead in Hong Kong? And I start reporting this. I get this email from this guy in Geneva, a lawyer, wants to introduce me to Laura Ingraham, wants to know if I want to go on the show. And I'm like, no, I'm not going on the show.
Yeah, good idea.
In the costume thing, and they're going to make fun of it. They're going to ridicule it, right? They're going to use it and flip it, and I'm going to look like a dope.
Yeah.
No way. But I said to the guy in email, but I'll gladly speak to her privately and provide her with information. So this was all happened in 2020, and I'm keeping the secret. In fact, when we did the show together about Vegas, I had been emailing with Laura Ingraham like every day for months and didn't tell my audience. The only guy who knew was Jason, the guy I was doing the podcast with. We were doing podcasts once a week for 5 years together. We don't do that anymore. We stopped back in Christmas. But he knew kind of secretly. I was like, Jason, dude, look, I just got off the Skype with Laura Ingraham, like for 2.5 hours. We're talking about this stuff. So at the time, I'm thinking, well, this is it. This is the break. I get the stuff to her. She's going to put it on the thing. And we're going to, the story's going to make the news. Everybody's going to find out what's. That doesn't happen.
Damn.
All right. But one night, Fox puts up an image on the screen And it should have stopped the presses. I mean, Sean Hannity or whoever, I think it was Sean Hannity was coming after her that night, should have said, Laura, what the hell was that you just put up on the screen? Because that's kind of crazy. I don't know if I can share my screen with you guys. Can I?
Yeah, you should be
Johnny,
able
can
to.
you do that? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to share just an image with you guys just real quick so you see what I'm talking about. So this is when I'm talking to Laura Ingraham. She, one night, puts this up. So this goes up on her broadcast. New York City, 8,600 people dead. Beijing, 8 dead. Shanghai, 7 dead.
What the fuck?
All right. So I had been talking with, right? I'm talking with her. She's emailing back and forth with me, CDC stuff. I said, ask Fauci this, ask Fauci that. She sends me back the thing. They said this, they said that. We don't. This is going on every day now. Every day. And one night, they put this up. And everybody, I mean, Anderson Cooper should have dialed in and said, hey, Laura, what the hell is that? 8,600 people are dead in New York and there's 7 dead in Shanghai? Damn. How does New York have 1,000 times more dead people than Beijing if the virus started in China? And at this point, I'm looking at this like, is everybody retarded? Am I on a Twilight Zone?
Yes, everybody's retarded.
Like, where's that I find retards guy on Twitter? It's like, dude, there's 1,000 times more dead people in New York than Beijing. And I'm a conspiracy theorist? No. I'm pretty good at math.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
All right. So so not only does this make no sense, the fact that no one moved to that. Not like Sean Hannity was like, hey, Laura, can you pull that back up again? Like, what the hell was that? Where was Tucker? Why doesn't Tucker say, hey, Laura, 8,000 dead in New York and 8 dead? What? And once you saw Beijing and you saw Shanghai, nobody want to check Hong Kong? It's 4 dead in Hong Kong. What the hell is going on? And this is when Langley came up with one of the greatest slogans of all time that Langley's ever come up with. China's lying.
Ooh.
China's lying. That's from Langley, guys. And that's
that's super interesting.
Yeah.
and that's in direct response to my reporting. There's not 10 people dead in Shanghai, Beijing. There's nobody dead anywhere.
And look at that, guys. I've said this before. I was blessed for a couple years in a row. I go to China and do stand up. There are literally like 20 New York cities in China. It's humongous.
Wuhan.
Yeah.
Wuhan is bigger than New York. Right. I never heard of it. Never heard of it.
So put that back up. I mean, look at these numbers, dude. You got New York City is 12 million. Everything else, will you put that back up, Jane? Yeah. Thank you. So both Shanghai, both Beijing and Beijing are way more people in a much more denser area. I mean, it's so dense. I know New York City's dense, but China, they are on top of each other. And you're telling me that that only 8 people, you know how impossible that is? It's insane to me if we're believing what they're trying to.
All right. So what you have to do then is you look at this and you say, all right, what the hell's going on? What the hell is going on? All right. Langley says China's lying. And I'm like, no, China's not lying. China's not. I've been to China. China's not lying. Something's going on. Because then I go check Vietnam. There's nobody dead in Vietnam. XG. Search Twitter for @I am John Cullen, Vietnam. There's nobody dead. Zero in Vietnam. All right. Japan's got 22 dead. South Korea's got 55 dead. I'm like, why are we declaring a global pandemic if there's only one city in the world that's got 2,500 people dead? That's Wuhan. That's it. What's going on?
Damn, dude.
And I'm stumped. Doesn't make any sense. And then Shepard Ambellis from IntelliHub came on our show.
Yeah, I know Shepard.
All right, so
I gotta get him back on the show.
All right, so Shep's a bit of a wild man, but
He's
he's
a wild card.
He's a
He's a
legend.
wild
He's a
card.
legend. But he's a legend. I mean, I was at IntelliHub, back when, before XG had any children. I mean, we were looking at IntelliHub back in the day.
3 weeks ago?
No, I mean, back in the day. I mean, it's old school, right? So Shep is old school. Back in the day, it was Alex Jones, InfoWars, and Shepard Ambellis at IntelliHub, and that was kind of it. I mean, that's like where you went. So we had him on the show, and he said he kind of had just a hunch that if there was going to be some sort of extinction level event, like a comet, an asteroid or something, that they would tell everybody that it was a virus. And he shared this with someone, and he shares it with us, and I'm like, okay, it's a reasonable kind of a hunch kind of a thing. And then he starts showing us a whole bunch of video stuff, because he's got like a network of people that share things with him like you guys do, right? You got viewers that send you stuff all the time, right? Same with me. People send me stuff all the time. So he shows all this video of military movement stuff. Now, this was April. It was either April 4th or April 5th of 2020. And he's showing us like military stuff is moving, like National Guard stuff. It's like, what the hell's going on? This is before any of us knew about the field hospitals. None of us knew anything about field hospitals. Shep comes on the show, is showing us like video from somebody who's down by the train tracks, filming a train of military stuff going by. And it's like, why are they moving all this military equipment? A week or two later, we find out they're building field hospitals everywhere. Why are they building field hospitals everywhere if there's not 10 people dead in Hong Kong? Why are you panicking? And on March 13th, President Trump declares a national emergency in all 50 states. You guys remember this? He comes out of the Rose Garden and he says, hey, we're going to put the full power of the government, and like 60 people come filing out of the Oval Office. It was like a clown car kind of a thing. It's like they kept coming out of there. And he declares this national emergency March 13th, 2020. No one's dead in New York. No one's dead in Florida. No one's dead in Texas. There's 48 people dead in all of the United States with COVID, but we don't have any tests. There's no test kit. They're assuming it's COVID. There's no test kits. All right. He declares a national emergency March 13th, 2020. 2 weeks later, an asteroid impacts Earth. A meteor hits the Earth in Akure, Nigeria, and it's covered up. And the reason that's such a problem is it's the first meteor crater witnessed by man since the birth of Jesus Christ. There's only been 2 impacts of this significant, meaning this size. It's 60 meters across. I'll show it to the audience in a second. It's 60 meters across. It's 7 meters deep. There's only been 2 impacts like this in the last 2,000 years. One of them was 1,100 years ago in Whitecourt, Canada, outside of Calgary, meaning nobody saw it but a bunch of elk. Right? Nobody was there, right? It was in the middle of Canada, in the middle of nowhere 1,100 years ago. There's nobody there. And then this one in Akure, Nigeria, 2 weeks after Trump declares a national emergency. Let me play a little video clip for you guys that kind of shows this event and kind of poses this as a, this is kind of a big problem, because it turns out this changes everything. In other words, you guys are building field hospitals all over the place and there's not 10 dead in Hong Kong or Shanghai. And 2 weeks after you declared a national emergency, we have the first meteor impact in the last 1,000 years and nobody's told about this? National Geographic didn't send a team there to tell you this is the first impact of this size in 1,100 years, only the second one since the birth of Jesus Christ.
Hey guys, real quick, I'm talking about our good friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. Listen, we love Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. They're sponsoring the show. We're so thankful. And listen, in these crazy markets, gold and silver and all the other precious metals, they are king. And you can get in on the program for just $50 a month. Let me tell you about Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. If you're paying attention, you know that de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver have been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all precious metals, all things precious metals. I love it. I am part of the Wolf Pack. Every month I have precious metals sent right to my house, and I love it. See, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver is veteran owned and A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small. You can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolfpack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. As little as $50 a month. You can have precious metals. You start loading it up, man. By the end of the year, you'll have a good chunk of precious metals. Dude, it's crazy. You just go to samtripoli.gold. You can see all the different plans they have. Man, it's like $50. Lone Wolf, Warrior Wolf, $125. Alpha Wolf is $250. And it just keeps going up. Sent to your house. Right there. It's that simple. It's that simple. Easy peasy. Get in, get out, get your gold, get your silver. I love it. I'm doing it. Dude, I'm telling you, all of these affiliates I use, and I use Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. I use it all the time. It's real simple. So if you want to get in, this is how you do it. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So here's what I need you to do, okay? Go to samtripoli.gold, promo code tinfoil at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. That's right. And remember, in a world of bulls and bears, be the wolf. All right, real quick, guys, I want to tell you about my dates coming up. Tonight and through the weekend, I'm in Tacoma. Then I'm in Burbank with the Revival, an hour of politics, spirituality, and comedy. Bellflower, Cleveland, Ohio, San Diego, more dates coming. I will let you know as I get the links. They will be up. Okay, let's get back to it.
They didn't send Christian Amanpour from CNN reporting from Akure, Nigeria. Sam, back to you. We've never seen a hole quite this big, Sam. Back to you.
How big was the hole?
I'm going to show it to you. Here we go. I'm going to show it to you guys right now. Here we go. Let me adjust my volume here so I don't blow you guys out. And do a little share-a-rama. I call this the Akure paradox. And the paradox is, why weren't you told about it? How did this not make the news? You read about asteroid the size of a washing machine is going to fly by 4 million miles away, and one of them finally hits the Earth, and it's a secret? You tell me what the field hospitals were really for. Watch this.
Did something happen that they weren't telling you about? I'm reading the video for those at home that are listening. So I just wanted to read the video of what's written on there.
Right. So did something happen that you weren't told about? I'll go back another smidge. So why did we lock down? What were the lockdowns about? We're locking everything down. You're not allowed on the roads. You're not allowed to go here. You're not allowed to go there unless you're an important person. Like unless you're a nurse or a doctor, they don't even want you in the car.
Right.
Why? There's not 10 people dead in Hong Kong. There's not 10 dead in Shanghai. Nobody's dead in New York. Nobody. March 13th, there's nobody dead. Nobody dead in Florida. Nobody dead in Texas. There's one dead guy in California. What are you locking everything down for?
That's
All
so
right.
crazy.
Did something happen that you weren't told about?
If there were 10 people dead, New York, Shanghai. Go on. Did something happen that they weren't told about? That you weren't told about?
March 28th.
Damn!
Akure, Nigeria.
Dawn.
1,000 homes have the roofs blown off. 1,000 buildings in this neighborhood. This is the largest meteor crater since the birth of Jesus Christ that has been witnessed by man, and no one told you about it. And the reason is that there were 40 more asteroids heading our way just 4 weeks later. We didn't even see this one coming. All right.
Damn.
All right. So this one is a surprise. And what happened was on March the 10th, they showed Trump a forecast. So NORAD, so this is my supposition, this is my hypothesis, based on the data that I found, right? So I find this data basically because Shepard and Bellis came on and said, this is what I think is my hunch. They're moving a bunch of stuff around. And there was a comet called Atlas that was at the time. So I go to NASA and I start poking around NASA. And it wasn't the comet Atlas, but it was something else. And that's what I found. And this blew me away. I was like, oh my God. And I called Laura Ingraham. I sent her an email. And this was like we had just met 10 days earlier. And I didn't really want to use a silver bullet with her. You know, I just met her 10 days earlier, right? And then I see this, which is I'm about to show you guys. And I said, God, I gotta show her this. And so I sent her an email. And on April the 28th, Laura Ingraham and I got on Skype together. And I showed her what I'm about to show you guys, which is about 40 asteroids converging on Earth.
Oh my God.
April the 28th.
Whoa.
Damn.
Right, so I send this to her using WeTransfer. So I film it, you know, screen record it on my computer. I'm actually driving this, right? This is a simulator. I'm moving the mouse. I'm moving this thing around, and I'm like, holy shit. This is unprecedented. And after
Can you describe it, what you're looking at right here? It's a sky map or a space map or whatever you think it is.
All right, so you're looking, this is a simulator that uses data from NASA on the trajectories of various asteroids. And what we're looking at are about 40 different asteroids that are all kind of converging with Earth in what I can only describe as like a gravitational vortex. It's like they're going down a drain and they're all spinning and then they all kind of come together at one point. And that one point is April 28th and 29th of 2020.
Would you say they're all about the same size as the one that actually hit, or were there some bigger ones?
Some are significantly bigger. City killers. And one of them is a planet killer, but the planet killer is not that close. The planet killer is about 4 million miles away, but it's massive. And then but there's enough of them. There's like 30 or 40 of them that are converging on Earth at this time frame. And it's something that we never really get to see in advance. Meaning right now, in the next year, we see no asteroids coming at us for a year. But in the last 60 days, there were 30 of them. All right, so we're not really good at seeing them coming. We're pretty good at seeing them in the rearview mirror. In other words, it's like we've got taillights and no headlights. It's like we can't see them coming, but we see them fly by.
The trajectory is purple, the Earth is blue, and then all these asteroids are around it, and it's all these white dots, and there's a lot of them.
You got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like playing marbles, and somehow the marble you're trying to hit is the only marble you don't hit, except for maybe that one.
they're all kind of coming together, like that thing where you put the quarters in and the quarters go around and around and around and around, and it's like a big cone, that big, and they just keep going around. That's kind of what happens with the asteroids. But imagine if all you put in like 10 quarters and at one point all the quarters kind of converged. That's what we're looking at here. And the convergence event is April 28th and 29th of 2020. So let's talk about the timeline. Trump, I believe, was shown this model or something similar to this by NORAD and NASA on March the 10th.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
All right. And they said, Mr. President, we got a pandemic problem and all that, sir. I think we might have a bigger problem than the pandemic problem. And he's
wow,
like,
look
what
at
are you
that.
talking? All right. And
that's like Barry Sanders just breaking out through all these the defensemen. Look at that. Holy cow.
They all just cluster together, right? And
now, did they hit each other, John? Do you know if maybe they hit each other or did they all miss each other?
I don't know. Because again, this is so covered up. This is, in other words, COVID was a cover up for a bird flu outbreak. So that's a whole nother conversation, right? So it's all been bird flu. It's been bird flu the whole time. And so the real pandemic was in the food supply. COVID is the CIA's cover up for the worst bird flu pandemic in human history. But March 10th, they bring this to the president. And he's like, what, are you kidding me? I don't have enough on my plate. Now you tell me it's going to start raining rocks?
Oh, my God.
So here's what they did. They take the COVID cover-up plan for the bird flu thing, and they said, let's just tell everybody the field hospitals are for the virus. Nobody's going to know the difference. Just tell everybody the field hospitals are for the virus. Dude, we put the field hospitals away after just 10 days. The field hospitals went up. April 20th, they were ready. That was their start date, was April 20th. They had to be ready. The convergence event I just showed you was April 28th. The Comfort left New York April 30th. Sailed away. And May 1st, we began decommissioning all the field hospitals. May 1st, after 10 days. They stood from April 20th to April 30th. And May 1st, we put them away. The hell do we need field hospitals? Dude, there were 4 of them in Rhode Island. For 10 days? Had nothing to do with a virus. April 28th and 29th was an extinction level event. NASA even produced a video that I happened to get my hands on that's not very widely distributed. Nobody really knows this happened. But then you get your hands on the NASA video and you're like, son of a gun. It looks like this actually happened. Let me play this for you guys and show you. This is from NASA. And it's like you look at this and you're like, holy mackerel. Like, somebody made the video and then somebody said, yeah, we probably don't want to talk about this as much as you guys think, but appreciate the video. Let's hide that somewhere. Let's take a look at this, guys, and you tell me what you think of this. Asteroid closing in on Earth April 29th of 2020. And I only found this a couple weeks ago, this video. So in other words, I had all the other stuff, and then I stumble into this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys admitted it?
That's like 2.5 mile long.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Now this one wasn't that close. So the biggest of them all, this one, wasn't that big a threat. The issue is the 30 or 40 others and the ones we don't see. In other words, the one that hit Akure, Nigeria, we didn't see that one coming. That wasn't on the radar at all. They usually are not. But when they confirm it and they tell you that it's the same day, again, I was on Skype with Laura Ingraham April 28th of 2020 showing her this. And she said to me, are we safe? And I said, I think so. And we weren't. I mean, I was showing her this the day of. It could have hit an hour later.
So why can't we detect them? Are they too small, too fast? We don't have the technology.
It's dark, it's space, they're rocks. It's a rock 10 feet wide, a million miles away, going 25,000 miles an hour in the dark.
And you have to be looking exactly where when it crosses. Usually they capture them or image them when they're passing in front of something else. Light sources typically is how and then they will. There's like a network of people in astronomy and amateurs even who kind of contribute to turning their telescopes in the directions of these things when they have them that they consider threats. But it's from everything I read, it's very. It's very crude. Their system for doing this. It's not. It's incredible.
I've published a fair amount of stuff about it. In fact, the closest asteroid to miss the Earth was in November 2020, and I broke that story because I check this thing every day. I'm looking for asteroids every day, and I checked at 4:00 in the morning one day, in November, and lo and behold, something just skimmed the Earth. Like the closest asteroid in history. And I broke the story on YouTube that morning at 6:00 in the morning. So I've been reporting on these asteroids ever since this event. And again, you can search the Twitter thing. So if you guys go to the search box and you put in my handle at @I_am John Cullen, and then asteroid, you'll find all my posts about asteroids and the closest asteroid, the most recent asteroid. But this video from NASA confirms this date range that April 28th and April 29th, there were asteroids heading towards Earth. So it's not a theory that I came up with. It's been verified. It's been validated by NASA.
Can I ask you, it wasn't so long after this either that they did those DART tests, right? Or that big DART test where they sent out the thing to kind of impact an asteroid and redirect it. That's
correct. And
a year later,
DART was done on Didymos. Didymos is an asteroid that has a moon, and they actually banged it into the moon of Didymos. But that's more for when we see them coming, and we have time to launch something, get it there, knock it off. Of course, the truth. See, here you go, April 29th, 2020. So that's it right there. Our next date with Armageddon. All right. So when this confirms it. It's not a theory. It's coming from NASA. So they're telling you this is happening. So you've got this impact event in Akure, Nigeria. And this happens 2 weeks after Trump declares a national emergency. And you're not told about it. We're building field hospitals all over the place. And May 1st, we put all the field hospitals away. And the whole asteroid story is gone. Like it never happened. But DART is potentially something they were looking at to push Apophis away. So Apophis is coming in 4 years. In fact, it's 4 years from this Sunday. So April 13th of 2029, 4 years and 4 days from now. It could be our last day on Earth as mankind. This asteroid is the size of the Eiffel Tower. It's 1,000 feet. Wow. It's 300 meters across. And if it impacts, it's probably going to wipe out half the planet. So all that stuff about 2030 reset 2030. Why is Zuckerberg building a bunker under his house? Yeah. Because in 4 years, there's an asteroid coming that has a chance of impacting Earth and wiping out a couple billion people.
That would explain Elon's anxiety about becoming a multi-planetary civilization.
Yeah, so he's full of shit. He's not going to Mars.
You don't think so? What do you think?
I know he's not.
What about, why wouldn't they go to the moon? That's the first. I don't understand that. What's the obsession?
Why does it go under the ocean? There's oxygen down there. You can extract oxygen and make fresh water from the Marianas Trench. Let's set up a Hilton Hotel in the Marianas Trench. Wow. Right?
I mean, ideally, right, the asteroid would land in an ocean, right? Isn't that what they would prefer?
No.
But then we have a tsunami.
Right. If an asteroid lands in the Pacific, Sydney, Australia is gone.
Oh, that's interesting because I remember I was reading about this recently, and they were saying that ideally it would not land like on
I guess there's different factors. If it lands terrestrially, so let's say it lands in Missouri, dirt, dust, rocks, right, all kinds of disaster stuff. If it lands in the ocean, the tsunami is going to be remarkable. Yeah. So let me show you guys a clip. This is
because I mean, if it lands in the ocean, because then aren't they scared that that dark stuff, all the ashes will block out the sun, and the sun will block out the plants, and the plants can't eat.
It's Chicxulub 2.0, baby. We're next. Yeah, we're going back to cockroaches and mice. That's all that's going to make it. We're toast. We're toast. So get your Disney World shit in. You use your timeshares up. We got 4 years to go, kids, unless Elon moves it. Now, here's my theory. Mars is bullshit. He's not going to Mars. There's no water on Mars. Was he going to build a Poland Spring factory? There's no water there. He's not going to Mars. What they're doing is he's trying to figure out how to move Apophis. He's trying to figure out how to push it. And he's building spaceships to do this, and he needs a cover story. Cover story is, I'm going to Mars, I'm bringing all the supermodels, and I'm going to keep making babies. Bullshit. He's not going to Mars. There's no water on Mars. Let me show you this clip where somebody brings something up, and you watch his expression. I want you guys to watch his face, watch his eyes, watch his emotions in this conversation, and you tell me if he's going to Mars or is Elon concerned. We've got 4 years to go. Take a look at this.
What would you do if there's an asteroid heading to this planet in 8 days?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they were told today.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe there is.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I think if we operate with extreme urgency, then we have a chance of making life multiplanetary. Still just a chance, not for sure. If we don't act with extreme urgency, that chance is probably zero.
This guy just let the cat out of the bag. The guy to his left said, we were just told today, what would you do if you were told an asteroid's heading for Earth in 8 days? He wasn't supposed to say that out loud. And Elon is like, yeah. You weren't supposed to say that, my little friend over here. Let's listen one more time.
What would you do if there's an asteroid heading to this planet in 8 days?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they were told today.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's going to land these rockets of his on Apophis. That's why they're sticking the landing on barges at sea. He's going to land on this thing. Bumping into it with DART? What are we, cavemen? We're going to throw a rock at it? I mean, that's what DART is. DART is where we fly a space, we fly a thing into it and bang. We try and knock it off course. But that could break it into two pieces, and now we got two things heading. It's like we're not really good at this stuff. We're kind of like cavemen when it comes to asteroids. Elon's got the goods. Elon's got the technology. He's got the team. And his people don't even know what they're really working on. He's not going to Mars. Without Elon Musk, mankind might be extinct in 4 years. 4 years and 5 days. So live it up, guys. Don't save that scotch.
Do you know what I know they rate these things by percentage chance of impact. Mm-hmm. Do you know an accurate number for that? Do we have one?
So they're covering it up. So they're trying to tell you that there's no risk of Apophis hitting the Earth at all, right? There's no risk, right? It's not going to hit the Earth. Right. Why do they have no credibility? Because they didn't tell you about Akure, Nigeria. They didn't tell you about the 40 asteroids that were heading our way. So if they didn't tell you that, why would anything they tell you about Apophis be true if they didn't tell you about the one that hit?
Guys, it's getting crazy out there. It is getting super crazy out there. And that's why I want to tell you about our sponsor, True Classic and the Way of the Ninja. That's right. Vigilante clothing for the man who wants to keep the streets safe for the ladies. That's all I do. I have to be able to kick high to the head at any moment. And there's no better gear than True Classic. I look good at the club. I wear it on stage. I wear it around, and I look good, and I'm ready to kill. Okay, ninja style. There's no better place, man. I can go anywhere. Finally, men have the yoga pants clothes for men. Women wear yoga pants wherever they go. They wear it at a business meeting. They wear it at night at the club. They wear it when they're making TikToks at the gym. It doesn't matter. Men have never had that. We had to wear suits, and then we had to wear jeans, and you can't fight in jeans. But you know you can't fight in True Classic, dude. Good for your hips. I have weird hips, man. I have some weird hips. And guess what? My hips haven't felt better than True Classic. And if you like jeans, they got stretchy jeans for you. Jeans that can pop. You want some loose clothes for your kicks? Guess what? They got that. They got everything you need. Their shirts are made for whatever angles God gave you. Okay? He gave you weird angles. Guess what? No one needs to know about that because of True Classic. Form, fit, form, right. That's all it is. It's the way of the samurai. That's what it is. Good look at what weather are you in? I don't even know what weather in that mulatto guy's in. What is he, half black? He looks great. It looks great. My God. 5-star reviews everywhere. Guys, let's get cut to chase here. You are a modern day warrior. Get rid of the designer nonsense. Get rid of the cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life, okay? For the streets. Grab yours at Target, Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/tinfoil to get hooked up today. And we thank them for sponsoring us one more time. That is trueclassic.com/tinfoil. Support us, supporting you, supporting them, supporting us, support you, support us. Let's support.
So here's Apophis. I'll show you. Here you go. Here's Apophis. And this is from NASA. So this is the data. And Apophis is the 5th one down here on the list. And the minimum distance is 23,617 miles from the center of the Earth. And the radius is about 4,000 miles. So that's about 19,000, 20,000 miles from the surface is Apophis. And this is April 13th of 2029. There's only 4 other asteroids heading our way between now and then in the next 4 years that we see. And one of them is a year from now, April 14th of 2026. This one, they've got it with a minimum distance of 4,800 miles. Well, the Earth is 4,600 miles to the surface. Or 4,400, 4,200. I forget the exact distance. Somebody will crock it right now and we'll find out. But the distance from the core of the Earth to the surface of the Earth is about 4,000 miles. So when you see an asteroid that's coming within hundreds of miles, yeah, that's not good at all. And that's potentially 33 meters across. So 100-foot rock going 25,000 miles an hour lands in the Hamptons.
How about that one down there that says 46? I mean, 406 miles.
406 miles, 465 miles minimum, but that's in 2030. Right, so that's in 2032. Yeah. And that's the one that got all the press recently. That's 2024 YR4. This got a lot of press because I've been talking about Apophis, and I went on a show in Australia. And in Australia, the government doesn't suppress stuff like they do here. In other words, like, I put stuff out on YouTube, it gets 2,000 views.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. In Australia, I go on a podcast and 150,000 people see it. And everybody's freaking out in the Five Eyes because now everybody's worried about Apophis. Days later, the story comes out about 2024 YR4 is a huge threat. But it's in 2032. And they're saying that they believe it's going to be about 100,000 miles. Well, Apophis is 20,000 miles.
Jeez.
And it's 4 years from now. So why are you worrying about something that's 7 years from now if we've got something that's 4 years from now and it's pretty close?
And that number is from our core, the middle of our planet, or?
Right. Yes. Wow. So 23,619 from the center of the Earth. Because they're measuring like gravitational centers is how they do it.
Wow.
And this thing is about 1,000 feet across, 300 meters across.
Fuck.
Yeah, so this is in 4 years and 4 days, April 13th, 2029. Could be the end of mankind. I believe this is what Elon is working on. I believe this is why he's so close to Trump. The reason he's so close to the administration is because this is a high priority. I mean, everything else is important, but this is like the most, it's like we need to survive or there's not going to be a May 2029. You know, there'll be Zuckerberg in his basement and Bill Gates with all those seeds up in Norway, right? We got that seed bank up in Norway.
Yeah.
Let's
It's not looking
The
good.
autistics will be the only ones who survive.
let's say say you don't listen. Let's say you don't listen to Tinfoil Hat, and the asteroid's coming. When do you think you would hear it on the news per se? Like a year in, 6 months in? Do you think it would just be like 3 weeks in? Hey, it's already here.
Why would they tell you? Why would they cause panic?
They didn't tell you last time. April 28th, April 29th. Did you see anything on the news from Anderson Cooper saying, oh, and by the way, tomorrow we might all die? No, they don't tell you. And they ridicule anybody who, it's just like, don't look up. In fact, you kind of wonder, was don't look up based on this? And wait a second. This all happened and Don't Look Up went into principal production in November of 2020? And they got Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Meryl Streep, and Jennifer Lawrence? That's one hell of a cast, huh? Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jonah Hill.
On Netflix.
On Netflix.
Not even like premium, like at a movie theater. You could get it just on
An asteroid. And somebody doesn't believe the dorks about the asteroids. Ha 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 ha. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, guys. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm the guy telling everybody we have 4 years to live. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that. And I'm the guy that's got the evidence that the last time it happened, they didn't tell you. March 28th, Akure, Nigeria. I mean, there's nothing like this since the birth of Christ, except in Canada. And who even cares about, nobody knows about Canada.
Have you communicated with anyone who's imaged this thing and has a projection, in the apocalyptic projection?
Meaning like a simulation of
it's in that band of
I have it. Yeah, you want to see it? You want to see what happens?
Well, I don't mean I mean someone that's actually anyone with a scope.
Well, there's a simulator. Yeah, so I've got a simulator that you can you put in the size of the asteroid, and you put in the density of the asteroid, and then it will. It uses like a random number generator to randomly generate the impact location.
I guess what I'm asking, the people who are looking at this thing, is there among them a fear of this object, and they're just kind of keeping it in the community there too, or are they all just towing them off? Okay.
Dude, the whole B612foundation.org has disappeared. They're gone. Nathan Myhrvold, Brian May from Queen is on the board of directors. B612foundation.org. They're the asteroid guys. 4 years ago, it's like they disappeared from Earth. It's like, where'd you guys all go? You didn't hear about Akure? You didn't hear about that, guys? You missed that? Here's the simulation. 4 years and 4 days from now, if Elon doesn't get his shit together, it's time to die.
But we're not seeing. Are you sharing this?
Oh, I'm sorry. So Apophis is about the size of the Eiffel Tower. So it's 350 meters across. In this simulation, again, the impact location is randomized. So totally, pulled it out of a hat. And in this case, it's impacting in the Atlantic Ocean.
That's kind of good for us in California.
Right, so here it's about 500 miles north of Puerto Rico and about 1,500 miles east of Miami in the Atlantic. And here we have the impact. And so this is a simulation of the size and scale of that many kilotons going off. And, you know, it's pretty devastating. I mean, basically, it wipes out half the planet.
That ring of fire, is that the atmosphere igniting? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it turns into plasma, actually. The atmosphere plasmatizes or something. And so the last time we had an extinction level event was April 28th and 29th of 2020, and you were not told about it. And the next time we have an extinction level event is April 13th of 2029, and they will just lie to you just like they lied about COVID, they lied about Vegas, they lied about the last impact event, didn't happen. We've been living in sort of this alternate reality where the CIA just doesn't want you to know what's really going on. The William Colby quote, when no one knows what's really happening, we'll have done our job. We're living it. We're living it. There were multiple shooters in Butler, right? I've got congressmen testifying they've seen my work. We've got ballistic evidence of multiple shooters in Butler. That's being covered up. COVID is a cover-up for the worst bird flu outbreak in human history. The virus was really ours from Wisconsin.
Whoa.
All right. Peter Daszak at EcoHealth releases SARS-CoV-2 as a patsy virus to hide our virus, because it's the only thing the CIA knows how to do is use a patsy. It's like they've got a playbook that's got 2 pages. Page 1, get a patsy. We've got a virus that Dr. Fauci did gain of function on in 2014. It ends up killing 40% of the people contracting it in China. 40%. That's like Ebola. That's like Marburg. That's like crazy numbers. 40% of the people who get it die. All right? Then it comes to New York. And 31% of the people who get it in New York are dying. And you're told it's COVID. And it's not. And to make it even worse, January 13th, Trump ordered vaccines. You guys know that? Trump orders vaccines from Moderna on January the 13th.
A little too early.
It's a little too early, isn't it?
A little too early, I'd say. A couple months.
You know why that's a little too early?
Why?
Well, because you got to say so. You ordered vaccines on January 13th, bro. You met with Moderna? Now, where did I get that? I got that from Mike Pence. So Mike Pence sends out a tweet and says on January 13th, 2020, Moderna partnered with President Donald Trump and the NIH to develop a vaccine for the American people. Today, Moderna announced their vaccine is 95% effective. Operation Warp Speed is a success because of the strong leadership of this president. Well, he tweets this out November 16th of 2020. After the election. The election's already over. Fox News called the election for Joe Biden. 9 days later. At 7:40 in the morning, 7:48 in the morning. He's tweeting about January 13th. The president partnered with Moderna, did a Moderna deal. How many people died COVID as of January 13th?
I don't know how many.
1 on Earth. The second person to die with COVID was January 15th. So if there's one guy dead on Earth, what the hell are we ordering vaccines for? We don't even know if it's contagious yet. Like, there's not 2 people. We don't know if it's contagious. There's 41 cases and 1 guy's dead. and he's doing a deal with Moderna. Did Mike Pence let the cat out of the bag? No, Mike Pence didn't let the cat out of the bag. You know who did? Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this, Sam. Sam's going to fall out of his chair, guys. You ready?
I hope not. I'm old.
Oh, you're going to fall out of your chair, bro. Did Mike Pence let the cat out of the bag? No. Who did? Ivanka. At 6:12 in the morning, the same day. At 6:12 a.m. on November 16th, Ivanka Trump tweets out, fact check. This Moderna NIH vaccine is literally the one that my daddy partnered with Moderna to create on January 13th, 2020. I repeat, January 13th, 2020. So shut up and be happy. 6:12 a.m., November 16th.
What time was Pence?
So Pence comes up an hour and something later. Here we go. Here, we'll switch over to Pence. So here's Pence. 7:48.
An hour and 30
90 minutes later. So 90 minutes. But this all happened before 8 o'clock in the morning. On November 16th, the election's over. The election, I think, was November 7th or something, November 5th or 7th in 2020. This is 8, 9, 10 days after the election. And Ivanka's tweeting about it, and then Mike Pence follows up and confirms it. January 13th. There's only one guy dead. In Wuhan. The hell do we need vaccines for? We need vaccines for what was actually happening in China. The CIA told you that there was this outbreak of this strange thing in Wuhan. Bullshit. There was an outbreak of bird flu in Wuhan, and thank God, believe it or not, for CNN. CNN International tells us exactly what went on in Hubei. Hubei province is where Wuhan is, right? Hubei province, right? December 2019, all those people were falling over in the streets in China. The hospitals were mobbed, Sam.
They were mobbed.
The hospitals were packed in China.
Chaos.
But there's nobody with COVID. Uh-oh.
Startlingly, these documents reveal there was an enormous spike in influenza cases in Hubei, right when studies have shown the very first known patients were infected with COVID-19. 20 times the number of flu cases compared.
Whoa, 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 whoa. 2,100%, 2,096% increase. Let's call that 2,100%. That means if in 2018 they had 50,000 cases of influenza in Hubei, they now have 1,050,000 cases. Do you see that? Like, you go from 50,000 cases to 1,000,000 cases?
Damn.
If you told me it was 4 times more than the year before, I'd say, whoa, 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 what do we got here? What do you mean you got 4 times more than the year before? That sounds like something, huh? If I told you it was 9 times more than the year before, you say, get the hell out of it, 9 times more. How's it 900 times, 900% more? Dude, it's 21 times more. Nobody noticed this? All those public health professionals, all those masters in public health people, nobody knew this. This guy's not speaking Chinese, right?
The same week the year before. Experts said it could have flooded the hospital system with patients sick from flu-like.
Oh, it flooded the hospital system with patients sick with the flu. This isn't COVID. This is December 2019. That's not COVID. That's the flu. This is an influenza outbreak in Hubei. The CIA told you this was COVID.
System with patients sick from flu-like symptoms. But they show flu patients were regularly screened. and many did not have a known flu virus strain.
So they're screening everybody, but they're like, how would you hide a pandemic? Let's pretend we all work for the CIA. And they come to us and they say, all right, guys, we got a mission for you. We got this unbelievable virus that Dr. Fauci did gain of function on back in 2014 in Wisconsin. It looks like it was killing all the chickens in China. But next thing you know, it went to Australia and killed 4 times more people. Now it's in Italy. It's really a disaster. Guys, we need you to hide it. And we're all looking at each other like, hide a pandemic? How the hell are we going to hide a bird flu pandemic? And so we asked Dr. Fauci to come visit us at the CIA. Brad Wenstrup sends a letter to the CIA and said, hey, Inspector General at the CIA, why was Dr. Fauci meeting with you guys and not signing in? And 6 weeks later, Brad Wenstrup announced he's retiring from Congress. You don't send letters to the Inspector General at the CIA about people who didn't sign in, unless you want pictures of your grandchildren on your pillow when you get home from work.
Damn.
All right. Brad Wenstrup retired from Congress. All right. He sent a letter to the Inspector General of the CIA saying, we've got a whistleblower telling us Dr. Fauci was meeting at the CIA and you guys didn't sign him in. What was that about? There was no response. Brad Wenstrup is retiring. The conversation when Dr. Fauci got to the CIA and they didn't sign him in probably went something like this. Tony, how are we supposed to hide a bird flu thing that just, Tony, it's killing people everywhere and not that many people vape, Tony. We're not going to be able to get away with this vape horse shit for, right? We're going to have millions of people dead, Tony. We don't have millions of people vaping, okay? How are we going to hide a bird flu pandemic? And Fauci says, guys, it's so easy and you're so stupid. And I've got a Vanity Fair photo shoot in 15 minutes. I got to go. Here's what you're going to do. Those PCR tests, is gain of function H7N9 in those PCR tests? No. So keep your mouth shut. Don't put it in the test. How's anybody ever going to find it if it's not in the test? The PCR test tests for pedestrian influenza. It tests for seasonal influenza. It doesn't test for weaponized gain-of-function strains that kill 30 to 40% of the people that get them, because that's not in the test. Don't put the strain we're trying to hide in the PCR test. I guarantee you dollars to donuts, nobody's ever going to find it. It's not in the PCR test. It can't be found. That's how influenza disappeared. Remember, influenza disappeared?
Yeah.
It didn't disappear. It killed 1.2 million Americans, but the strain is not in the test. They stick the thing in your they're not testing. It's not in there. Guess what? Tuberculosis isn't in there either, right?
Why cover up bird flu with COVID?
Simple. A, it's our virus from Wisconsin, okay? B, we did gain of function on it in 2014 after the gain of function pause. 3 weeks later, Obama did a pause on gain of function, and then they told this guy, but you go ahead, you're good to go. You don't worry about the thing. You just do what you got to do. Obama launched a bioweapon against China. H7N9 gain of function wiped out their poultry. And I think it may have wiped out their pork industry. If it didn't, so there were 2 outbreaks in China at the same time, a poultry outbreak and a pork outbreak. They told you, again, I think it's CIA horseshit, African swine fever wiped out the pigs. I'm not so sure that's the case. I think it's one virus, and it wiped out the chickens and the pigs. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain it was our doing. Obama wanted to bring them to their knees. Obama deploys a bioweapon to China, 2013, 2014. Trump comes into the White House in 2017 And Flynn briefs him because Flynn is Defense Intelligence Agency. So and it's a bioweapon. The Pentagon's tracking this thing, by the way. Now, let me show you guys this. You're going to flip when you see this. The Pentagon's been tracking it since 2014. That's why it's like all these guys are so full of shit. They all know. Like all the guys who are on the Senate Intelligence Committee and, all that. They know all this. I mean, they're just so full of shit. It's unreal. So the Pentagon's been tracking this virus since 2014 in China. The Pentagon. This is an Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force. The hell are they tracking a respiratory infection in China for, unless it's a bioweapon? It's our bioweapon. Obama deploys it. Trump is handed the disaster. First week in the White House. Flynn says, sir, I'm going to have to brief you on this chicken problem in China. And Trump says, chicken problem in China? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, your predecessor, Obama, thought it would be a good idea to kind of slow China down with some chicken problems. And unfortunately, it seems like it's moving to Australia and things might be getting out of hand, sir. And it gets to a point in 2019 where 40% of the people in China are dying. And they go to Trump and they say, sir, if you don't vaccinate the people, you can have 10 or 20 million dead. This thing kills 30% of the people that get it. If you don't vaccinate the public, you're going to have 10, 12, 16, 18 million people are going to die. Now, you also can't go to the podium and tell everybody, guess what? My predecessor, the Kenyan, thought it would be a great idea to do a bioweapon in China and kill all the chickens. You can't, sir, this is national security. You can't do that. You can't tell everybody he did this. This is top secret stuff. So in January 2019, Trump initiates something called Operation Crimson Contagion. And you can look this up in Wikipedia. Operation Crimson Contagion is an exercise about an H7N9 outbreak in China. And it lasts 8 months. And at the end of it, Event 201 is the communications exercise. What they're going to do is that the real pandemic is in the chickens, meaning it's in the eggs. It's in chickens, it's in eggs. By the way, this is why we need mRNA vaccines. No doctor said, what the hell do we need mRNA for? Because the chickens are dying. The chickens are sick and there's no eggs. Can't make vaccines in eggs if there's no eggs. That's why we moved to mRNA. Sir, you got to vaccinate everybody or they're going to die. 10, 12 million, 20 million people are going to die. 30 to 40% are dying. In New York, by June of 2020, 31% of the cases are ending up in death in New York and New Jersey.
Now, let me ask you something, John. We've done a lot of extensive shows on this. There's a lot of talk about remdesivir. They're blaming it on like all these air tubes, but remdesivir and what that drug represents in terms of like they did testing on it, had a 50% fatality rate.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Right? And that seemed to be the thing that they wanted to give to the COVID people. Right. And there's this theory that it allowed them to exaggerate the numbers. Do you have any thoughts on that?
All right. So the reason they were using remdesivir is because the guy who did the gain of function on the real virus, the H7N9, was also trying to give the H7N9 Ebola-like qualities. Remdesivir was designed for Ebola. Remdesivir is a failed Ebola drug from Gilead. It was originally designed to treat Ebola, and it failed. It didn't get approval from the FDA. All right, but Kawaoka is the guy who was doing the gain of function on H7N9, and I'm going to show you. This is the authorization in 2014 for him to go ahead with gain of function. And what it says in the first bullet is research project number 1 Systems Biology Analysis of Influenza A virus, that's bird flu, influenza A is bird flu, and Ebola virus to reveal, you guys see this? An Ebola virus to reveal host regulators of viral pathogenicity, Yoshihiro Kawaoka. They're trying to figure out how to make influenza have Ebola-like pathogenicity.
Jeez Louise.
So now
We're
you
just
tell
dealing
me,
with scumbags.
dude, that they're out of their minds.
Oh, they're fucking
idiot.
This is right. John Stewart said, this is the last words we're going to utter is, hey, it worked. We figured out how to merge Ebola and influenza. So now we've got an influenza virus that kills 30% of the people who get it. Now you understand why we went to Remdesivir? This guy put Ebola-like qualities into H7N9. What the hell would you turn to an Ebola treatment for influenza for? Unless the guy who cranked up this influenza virus gave it Ebola-like properties, which we just saw he was chartered to do. These people are sick, Sam.
And then send the blame to China?
That's the cover-up. So Operation Crimson Contagion is how the CIA, so there's a guy named Bob Kadlik. He's the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response. He runs this Operation Crimson Contagion. And the recommendation they come up with is the CIA, we're going to release another virus to be the patsy. We don't want everybody to know it's our virus from Wisconsin, that Kawaoka did it, Fauci funded it, Obama approved it, and that we deployed this thing against China as a weapon. So what we're going to do is we're going to blame China. In order to do that, we're going to call this guy Peter Daszak. Peter Daszak has a lab relationship with Wuhan Institute of Virology. And because the CIA funnels money to him, he funnels money to them and says, hey, let's work on this, let's work on that, let's work on this, let's work on that. So when the CIA says, hey, Peter Daszak, you got any viruses over there that cause pneumonia? You got something from a bat, preferably, because I'm trying to keep everybody away from the chickens. I don't want people to know it's in the food supply. I can't go to the podium and say, stay away from KFC and El Pollo Loco, right? I can't do that, right? Please, if I were you, I'd skip the El Pollo Loco for the next 18 months. You can't do that. That's pangolins and raccoon dogs? That's not in the refrigerated section. We don't eat that stuff. How do you get everybody to forget about chickens and eggs and influenza and bird flu? You need a coronavirus from a bat from a cave that maybe came from a pangolin or a raccoon dog. Well, we don't need any of that shit. I need to throw a horseshoe crab in there too. Right? There's some more stuff we don't eat. The virus was in the food supply. The virus was in the chickens. The virus was at Tyson. The virus was at Smithfield. The virus was at Walmart. That's why 1.2 million people died. It was in the food supply. And it still is. It hasn't gone away. All this bird flu horseshit you're hearing about in H5N1 is the next cover-up. The term they use is red herring. A red herring was used in a fox hunt to train the foxes. They had like a smoked fish. It smelled like hell. And the dogs would go crazy. So you throw a red herring on a rope and the foxes will run after the red herring instead of the fox. COVID was a red herring. The CIA tells Daszak, you're going to release this other virus at the Wuhan military games. We got people from all over the world attending. 2 viruses are then going to spread from the central location in parallel, holding hands simultaneously, 2 viruses. No one will be able to tell as long as we never mention the other one. COVID, 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 COVID. When was the last time you heard about H7N9 bird flu? Nothing. When was the last time you heard about Akure, Nigeria? And there's a meteor impact. Nothing. The media is so full of shit.
So COVID was a cover-up for both these, an asteroid and
but the asteroid thing comes out of the blue, right? So the asteroid thing, they're just like, what? And they're like, well, we got to do field hospitals and we got to lock everybody down. Just tell them it's for the virus. And the field hospitals only lasted 10 days. And the lockdown stuff, it's like, well, it really is a virus killing 30% of the people getting it. So they really are dealing with this bird flu thing. The asteroid issue comes and goes. March 10th, he learns about it. May 1st, they put the hospitals away and we move on. And nobody mentions asteroids ever again. So yes, COVID was a cover-up for two things, which is crazy. But that's what all the evidence indicates. And it's like, I've got the receipts. It's like, I'm not pontificating. This is what happened. I've got the receipts for it. I mean, the data's from NASA, the Akure Nigeria impact event. How the hell is that a secret? How is that a secret? The only reason it would be a secret is if there's 30 or 40 more coming. The movie Greenland, the trailer for the movie Greenland, was ghosted from the internet that week. So the week of April 27th, 28th, 29th, the trailer for the movie Greenland got ghosted. They pulled it. It had been out there. And then they took it away. And all the links to it were dead. Why are you guys ghosting a trailer to a movie about rocks falling from the sky?
So crazy. This is
dude. 270 million Americans were inoculated for H7N9 bird flu, not COVID, not SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is the cover-up. The real pandemic was H7N9 bird flu from University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Kawaoka did the gain of function. That's why they tried Remdesivir, because it has these Ebola qualities to it. And everything about SARS-CoV-2, all that Dr. David Martin shit, is CIA horseshit. That's all red herring bullshit. That's all red herring bullshit. If it's about SARS-CoV-2, it's horseshit.
So because spike protein, all that stuff, total horseshit.
Dude, it's genius. It's genius. The genius is you've been fishing, right? Which lure do you want? The one that's got the little holographic and the rattlers and the bells, and that's the perfect red herring virus. It's got CGG, CGG, and GP120. The lab rats will never stop talking about it. That's exactly what happened. It's got CGG, CGG. It can't be from the market. It has to be from the... It can't be. It has to be. It can't be. It has to be. For 5 years, they're still arguing about the damn thing.
This would also explain why the CIA would be the organization to come out and kind of verify this lab leak theory, because normally when would they ever comment on that?
Right. They want you. Yes, it came from the lab. Yes, it's a lab leak. That's right. When's the last time the CIA ever came out and said, that's right?
Let me ask you something.
Fire.
What about all of this after COVID vaccine deaths? We're seeing heart attacks, myocarditis, all that stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
So the lipid nanoparticle exterior is a disaster. All right. I had a chance to sit with Dr. Bob Malone, and we had a chance to talk about it. The idea behind mRNA, this notion that you put something in and the ribosome reads it and does what it has to do to make an antigen, is kind of how influenza vaccines used to work, but they put it inside an inert coronavirus before. They realized, well, we can't do that if the chickens are dead and we have no eggs. So we're going to need the synthetic thing to put it in. That's where mRNA and Moderna came from. DARPA funded this, right? Because they knew we're going to have a bird flu pandemic. How are you going to make vaccines if we have no chickens? So they started Moderna, so that we would have a synthetic means to do it. But the outbreak gets really bad too fast. The Moderna technology, this lipid nanoparticle stuff that Bob Malone helped invent, isn't really ready for prime time. The research coming out of New York, Sloan Kettering, said this could cause folding proteins. This could cause prion disease. That's Jacob Creutzfeldt stuff. I mean, that's killer stuff. That's like mad cow. So you don't want prion, you don't want folding proteins and prion disease. That's killer stuff. And we got that from Sloan Kettering. I think in 2017, their research was indicating this. They rushed it to market, and all the side effect stuff is true. But it was effective. So here's the rub. The vaccine may have prevented 10 million deaths, and 1 million people may die from side effects. And in the world of Christine Grady, Dr. Fauci's wife, the bioethicist, that's considered a win. If 1 million people die, but you save 10 million lives with the vaccine, and 1 million die from blood clots,
wow.
In the world of bioethics, that's a green light. That's a go.
So where do you personally place Fauci? Is he a villain, as we've been told, or is he just kind of doing what he was called to do? He really had no choice.
Dr. Fauci was the head of biowarfare for the United States for the last 30 years.
All right, so that says enough.
Infectious diseases and allergies is the cover. Dr. Fauci was the head of biowarfare for the United States for the last 30 years.
Now, does that intersect his role in the AIDS epidemic? Is that
possibly? I never got too much into the whole AIDS thing. It was 1980, 84, that time frame. So I never really researched that heavily to know, was that a developed bioweapon and what have you. But knowing what I know now about these guys, they're off the reservation. They're out of their minds. Right? And so it wouldn't surprise me one bit. And then, you start thinking back about Zika. And you're like, what the hell was that, guys? What were you doing with the babies with the little heads? Where the hell did that come from? And then where did it go? Like, this just came out of nowhere and now it's gone? They're nuts. They're out of their minds.
What about the Lone Star tick? You believe that was another thing that was released by the government or another thing?
Quite possibly, because again, you just can't believe any of these stories at face value. They cover everything up. So if you have a hunch or you have a suspicion that there's something more to it, there probably is, right? If you're like, nah, come on, that can't be what, So for example, you guys remember a couple years ago, there were like a bunch of dead cattle in Kansas, and they said it was because it got hot one night.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Get the hell out of here. Got hot one night. No, you got 3,000 dead cattle in Kansas? Get the F out of here. Come on. It gets hot in New Mexico every night. It gets hot in Texas what are you talking about? It's 110 degrees down in Texas. You got hot one night in Kansas and all the cattle died? Get the hell out of here.
Oh, yeah, and I know it growing up. Cows are remarkably durable.
What was the temperature?
Resilient. So resilient.
100 degrees. So it goes to 100. Dude,
higher. 100 degrees.
It's 100 degrees in Texas every day. Yeah. June, July, August, September. It's always 100 degrees. New Mexico, Arizona, they raise cattle. I mean, come on, man. It's hot throughout the Southwest. And you're telling me you got hot one night in Kansas and 3,000 cattle died? Get the hell out of here. They've been screwing around with these viruses. It turns out the bird flu outbreak in China is heavily documented. China was making vaccines for it. It's not like it's a cover-up. It's just that they don't talk about it. Once you start researching it, like you just type in stuff, H7N9 outbreak in China, you'll find 1 million stories about it once you know what to look for. Then you find out that in 2019, China lost half its pork. Half its pork. Now that has implications because now the price of pork goes up. That's their staple protein. What does that do sociologically when the price of pork goes from $2 a pound to $9 a pound in China? What do the Chinese people start demanding? New leadership? You see how the CIA uses a virus to change the price of food to cause social unrest, to overthrow a government. This is the shit we do. And what was the cost? $600,000. So for $600,000, we did gain of function on a virus nobody even knows is out there. We deploy it in China. We wipe out the poultry. Maybe we had a second virus to wipe out the pork. Maybe we got a twofer, and one virus did both, the chickens and the pigs. Dude, we devastated the food supply in China. We wiped out half the pork, and a quarter of the egg-laying chickens on Earth died. Japan, Australia, Scotland, Poland, Germany, Netherlands, everywhere. A quarter of the egg-laying chickens on Earth died. In fact, if you just type this into your favorite search engine, deadliest bird flu outbreak in history, and see what stories come up. Deadliest bird flu outbreak in history. Yeah, well, when was that? Coincident with COVID? Get the hell out of here. Come on. How is that coincident with COVID? And nobody said anything? And now you're telling me bird flu? Oh, so the last red herring is kind of used up. Nobody's buying into the COVID crap anymore. So now you're going to use H5N1 as the new red herring. There weren't 75 cases of H5N1 in human beings last year. Talk about a red herring. I feel like I'm having deja vu all over again. 5 years ago, I was telling you there's not 10 people dead in Hong Kong, not 10 people dead in Shanghai. Now they're doing H5N1, and I'm there going, hey, there's not 75 cases on Earth of H5N1. Feels very similar to me. Yeah. And yet, Anderson Cooper, Sean Hannity, Tucker, starts to make you wonder. Are they all pussies? Or are they all spooks? How do you not address there's not 10 dead in Hong Kong or Shanghai or Beijing when the guy who built the mapping system is telling her, click, here, look. I'm the whistleblower. COVID was one hell of a cover-up. 270 million Americans were vaccinated for something that was not SARS-CoV-2. It was Dr. Fauci's virus from University of Wisconsin. That's what killed 1.2 million people, Americans. That's what killed 7 million worldwide. And SARS-CoV-2 was released by Peter Daszak and EcoHealth on purpose to be the patsy. And they hid it by just not putting H7 and 9 in the test kits. You can't. It's not in the test. You can't find it. You test it 10 times in a row. You're still not going to find it. It's not in there. And that's how you do it.
Do you think there's any coincidence with the price of eggs being so high in this whole
of course,
chicken stuff?
Yeah, dude. You think a quarter of the egg-laying chickens died? Did you say? Do you understand how many of those chicken places burned down? Do you guys remember the poultry farm fires?
No.
Or not really? You remember one or two of them, right?
My family's in the business, so yeah, I remember.
Oh, you're kidding! Your family's in the poultry industry?
Yeah,
dude. Do you know that the USDA has been reimbursing poultry farmers for highly pathogenic avian influenza losses?
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude.
Tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, well, read that.
I know they're on guard. I know that. They're at the highest alert status right now for this.
There you go. All right, so let me show you something, because, again, it's something that people may not be aware of. Right, so people may not be aware of the scale of what was going on, because, again, it's not reported. Like, same thing with the field hospitals. People don't realize there were field hospitals everywhere, right? You name a city, there was a St. Louis, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Oak, everywhere there were field hospitals. But it wasn't reported. So most people don't realize they were everywhere. Same thing with what I'm about to show you. Most people don't realize how widespread this was, but watch this, and this is going to blow you guys away.
We got to see it.
Yep, here it comes.
What are we looking at? Okay, here we go. Well, while everyone was obsessing about Wuhan, bats and pangolins and raccoon dogs.
Right, so bats, pangolins, and raccoon dogs. Right, so everybody's Worried about, the bats, right? It's coming from a bat, and the bat in the cave, and we got to go to the cave and get the bat, and we're gonna. Maybe it came from a pangolin, and how did it get in the pangolin? And then now it's on South Park, and Randy had sex with the pangolin, right? And the next thing you know, it's in the raccoon dogs, right? And Randy's banging the pangolin and the bat.
Hey, Mickey banged the pangolin too.
Mickey is a weasel, right? Mickey is a bad mouse. This is how you get people to forget about the chickens. All right, here we go.
It's a huge a massive fire at an egg farm.
Tonight, a large fire damaged a plant southeast of Moses Lake.
Fast-moving flames tear through a barn in Bowling Green. Take a look at all of that smoke pouring out of there.
Battling 3 barn fires right now, big fires. Each building, we're told, has tens of thousands of chickens.
There are 3 chicken coops on fire.
There is a massive barn fire burning at Hickman's Egg Farm in Tonopah.
Nearly 300,000 chickens were trapped inside of this 3-story steel building on the outskirts of Ceres as flames and smoke took over.
Massive flames burned down a barn with tens of thousands of chickens inside in Wright County overnight.
A poultry farm fire in Lebanon County that has caused $12 million in damage.
2 chicken houses caught on fire in the Ruston community in Jones County last night.
Flames tore through a barn at a poultry farm early this morning.
Fire has destroyed a chicken house, killing thousands of chickens.
This massive fire, it happened late.
Dude, you got a whole other of that.
Right? And I put this together. So I'm searching YouTube for news stories about chicken coop fires, and I'm assembling, I put all this crap together. And I'm kind of stunned as I'm doing it. I'm like, it's never ending. I've got more video clips than I've got time. People are going to get bored after 45 minutes of this.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's never ending.
Last night in Howard Lake, straight west of the cities on Highway 12.
News out of Pasco County. Crews battling a huge fire at a chicken farm. It's all happening on
camera. You're saying that they're killing off the chickens so this doesn't spread.
Well, that's one theory, right? I mean,
what's your theory?
Somebody said to the FBI, how are we going to contain this problem? And they said, oh, we've got these cool drones that we can, nobody will see us coming, nobody will see us going. And as long as you guys at the, the USDA, as long as you reimburse the farmers for their losses, I'll bet you we can get them to keep their mouth shut, right? In other words, money talks, right? So if you burn the thing down and next thing you know, check is showing up in the mail and the check is for $16.7 million, right? Or your Roseacre Farms and you get 6.7 million, or your Centrum Valley and you got a check for 10.9 million, or your Cold Spring Egg Farms and you got $14.8 million. So these are the reimbursements, right? And Butterball, who's a big company, only got 6.3 million, right?
Where's Tyson? Where's Tyson?
Tyson's probably
right there. I see it. Yeah, it's right there at the top.
Yeah, $24.2 million.
Fuck.
Waldbaum's. I used to live in New York, and Waldbaum's is a supermarket in the New York area. I didn't know they raised their own chickens. So Waldbaum's, the grocery store, has their own chicken operation, and they got 25 million. Rembrandt Enterprises got 27, almost 28 million.
Even Turkey got it. Even the turkey's got a little bit.
Is Purdue on there? Is Purdue on the list?
I don't see Purdue, but I see Jenny O. Dude, Jenny O got $75 million.
What?
What did they do to these guys?
It's interesting that.
Right? So now you're looking at this and you're like, wait a second. This is how they're buying the... So they don't even have to go to the insurance company? You're just getting checks from the USDA directly? Now, again, you guys can just type into your search engine, USDA Aphis, APHIS is the poultry stuff, reimbursements to poultry farmers. And you'll find, yep, we've been sending money to all the poultry farmers for highly pathogenic avian influenza. HPAI reimbursements to poultry farmers. Type that in your search, and you'll verify and confirm everything I'm telling you. They've been sending these guys checks. We're going to burn down your operation, Sam, but don't worry, I got a check here for $24 million. I think that'll cover it. And you're like, I built 2 of these for $24 million. I can double the size of my operation for what you guys just gave me. I can pay everybody.
But obviously, it was never obviously airborne. You couldn't catch it. It was all through you eating food.
Oh, both airborne and in the food. In fact, Trump said something to Megyn Kelly. He sits down with Megyn Kelly and did an interview with her. I guess it was about a year ago. And he said something to her. He leaves hints. It's one of the ways I can tell he didn't really want to cover this up. It's like they told him, sir, you just can't tell everybody Obama did this. He wants to. He's chomping at the bit. He's dying to go to the podium and say, guess what the Kenyan did? He can't wait to tell everybody, here's what happened, right? But listen what he says to Megyn Kelly, and then I'll decode this for you afterwards. Listen to this.
We got word that bad things were happening in China right around the Wuhan clinic. And I was the one that said it was in the Wuhan clinic. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I stuck with it, and it was absolutely.
All right, so there's only one BSL-4 laboratory in all of China, in Wuhan. So there's only one. So that's kind of the obvious place where a virus would come from. And this is what he's telling you now is this is the CIA cover-up story. This is what they told him to say. Came from China, came from the lab in China.
It came out of the Wuhan clinic. But you take a look, and what we did was, this was brand, nobody knew what the hell it was. There's dust. Somebody said there's dust coming in from China. And
catch that? There's dust coming in from China. All right.
There's dust. Somebody said there's dust coming in from China, and it's killing people in Italy, and it's killing people in France.
There's dust coming in from China, and it's killing people in Italy, and it's killing people in France. Dust, huh? What kind of dust might he be talking about? Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Hang on 1 second, guys, and I'll find this for you. So one of the guys who I did a session with, bear with me, I did a session with a guy who went out to one of those egg farms. His wife died from the virus, and he was a guest on my show. And he saw this thing with all the fires. And he said, excuse me, sends me an email. This is one of those places is like an hour from me, and it's huge. A place called, what's it called? Hickman. Here, I got the picture of it. Hickman's Egg Ranch, and this is in Arizona, and he lives in Mesa or something like that. And he said, yeah, this place is like an hour from me, and he drove out there to talk to them about the fire. And this is what he took a picture of.
Wow. Biosecurity.
Poultry dust is toxic. Poultry dust is considered a biohazard. And 1 gram of poultry dust can kill 1 million chickens. 1 gram of poultry dust, if it's infected, can kill 1 million chickens. So let's go back to what the hell is Trump talking about when he's talking with Legs Kelly. What does he say? Let's go back to the dust.
He knew what the hell it was. There's dust. Somebody said there's dust coming in from China, and it's
poultry dust. So it's airborne. It's in the poultry dust. The poultry dust spreads in the atmosphere. It's like pollen. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, pollen travels like 250 miles, right? There can be goldenrod growing in New Jersey, and you're going to be sneezing in Connecticut. All right, so it's the same thing. This is in the air.
Killing people in Italy, and it's killing people in France, and it's going to kill people here. And by the way, I shut it down to China. That was a big move. I saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives by doing it. But honestly, nobody, I don't blame a lot of people because nobody knew what it was. Now we do understand it somewhat. Nobody really understands it even now fully. But nobody knew what COVID was, and it wasn't even a name. I called it the China virus. I still do. I call it the China virus. It came out of China.
Aha. It started in China in 2013, and the UN told us that. The UN starts monitoring H7N9 in China in 2013.
So was it taken from Massachusetts and moved over there, or whatever state you said started here? Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. So the virus, in other words, here's what happened. The outbreak begins in China. Legitimately, they have an outbreak of this virus. Fauci sees it as an opportunity. Fauci whispers to Obama, "Sir, you might have a window of opportunity here because they've got an outbreak of this virus in China. And I know a guy named Yoshihiro Kawaoka. I can make this thing 200 times more deadly, and nobody's going to be able to tell it came from us." Jeez. The outbreak's already underway. Outbreak's already underway. I'm going to get Yoshi to make a special version of this, and I'm just going to drop a couple ducks off at the duck pond. And next thing you know, our strain will become the dominant strain. And sure enough, you don't have to be, let's see if I can find this. You don't have to be an epidemiologist to look at this. This is the tree of H7N9. All right. So you look at this tree and you say, what's that group all the way up at the top? It's like having a family picnic, a big family get together and all the cousins are there and the aunts and uncles are there. And then like these 4 guys who are 7'6" from Ethiopia show up and you're like, you guys with Aunt Gertrude? You don't look like the rest of the family. Where the hell do you guys come from? This thing up in the upper right, that's our gain of function version. That takes over. That dominates. Everything else goes away. And Dr. Fauci's super virus ends up killing 40% of the people who contract it. And no one's the wiser. They just snuck it in there. These are some evil psycho people. And, biowarfare, this is international criminal court shit. This is The Hague. This is Dr. Fauci's pardons mean nothing if another country wants to prosecute him. All right, so if France decides to prosecute Dr. Fauci, his pardons are meaningless. They bring him to The Hague, the International Criminal Court. We killed 7 million people with our virus. We released SARS-CoV-2 from Wuhan as a patsy. China had nothing to do with it. China was our contractor. EcoHealth gives them money and says, hey, make this, put this on this virus, put a CGG on this virus you pulled out of the bat's ass in the cave. He gives them a bunch of money and they go do it. That's, this was all us. China wasn't lying. Dr. Fauci was lying. So when China says we got 7 people dead from SARS-CoV-2 in Hong Kong, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Everybody else was dying from bird flu. Same thing in Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't have 5,000 dead from COVID because they counted correctly. The countries that didn't are the countries that don't like Donald Trump. Europe, the G20, right? Remember they didn't even want him in the pictures? They did the photo thing at the Trevi Fountain and Trump wasn't even in the pictures. They don't like him. He's not part of the club. It's a crazy world. And we've only got 4 more years to enjoy it unless Elon saves the day.
I was asked to bring up to you the sheriff who was moved around from Maui to
Pelletier.
to Diddy. I'm told you have quite a lot to say about that.
Well, so his name is Pelletier. He was the incident commander, supposedly, in Vegas. His real job was he was the head of SWAT and he was the head of the K9 team. And the issue is he's not there. He's not on the scene. So in all the videos I've done where we're inside the suite and all that, he's not there. So it's kind of hard to pin too much on him unless, he's there. He's not there. Corey Mickelson is there. Brett Brosnahan is there. Josh Bitsko's there. David Newton's there. Pelletier's not there. They report to him. But did he come up with the master plan to break the window at 12 a.m.? And I don't think so. Pelletier doesn't strike me as a real rocket scientist. Was he helping traffic prostitutes? It appears that way. Or at least they're going to find out in the courtroom. Right? He's been implicating the Diddy thing for trafficking people.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
Right. But the part where he ends up in Maui, to me, that's just a coincidence. It's like, he leaves Vegas, he moves to Maui, gets the job, and then they have the fire. I don't see the Maui fire as anything other than just incompetence, ineptitude, and 75 miles an hour wind. I mean, that's what that to me was.
Would you say the same thing about the LA fires?
No. The LA fires, I think, were set deliberately. Yeah, I think those were set deliberately. Look at how many billions of dollars of damage was done in Los Angeles. And look at how much gasoline was needed. $10? 2 gallons of gasoline? 2 gallons of gas? Now, was it all intentional? I don't know. But have you seen the footage of the guy walking around by the reservoir? There was a guy by the reservoir that looked like he was starting a fire.
Yeah.
And so the Burbank Reservoir guy. I don't know if I have that footage here.
We also reviewed the footage of those kids that were running off the mountain laughing. Have you seen this?
Right. Yeah, I posted all that stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
that was you. Okay.
Yeah. So
we reviewed that here on the show, and I think it seems like several people were in. Do you think they were coordinated? These people.
I don't know if the kids. So the kids, that's kind of they were like, hey, we were just standing right there. Were they smoking a joint? And they threw the joint away, and the joint said, I don't know. Somebody smokes a cigarette and thinks they put it out, and they didn't. I don't know.
By the way, I love that about you that you say I don't know, because too many people just yeah, of course you. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I'll say that, like, if I've got evidence of something that's hard, I'll tell you. Like, for example, the window in 32135 was not broken. I can say that definitively until 12:23 a.m. when I have video of it being broken. So when I have stuff like that, I can be definitive. But with this other stuff, you look at it and you're like, what is that? What is going on here? So with the fire, the kids that were up on the hillside running, did they intentionally start a fire? I don't think so. But then we have the footage of that creepy looking dude by the Burbank Reservoir walking around. It looks like it looks like he has an accelerant in his hand, and he does start a fire. And eyewitnesses are saying, it looks like that guy just started a fire. So it's like, so what's going on? Was there deliberate fires being set and accidental stuff? I don't know. But the deliberate stuff looks like we've got some evidence of that. And then you think about it, well, if there were ISIS guys in country, and we know there are, what a cost-effective way to make an impact, man. Boy, oh boy. $10 of gasoline, you wiped out billions of dollars in real estate and art. The art that was destroyed is hard to comprehend.
You're right. If you're going to compare that to like a terrorist attack like 9/11, like the money wise, it's so much easier just to start a fire and let it go crazy in California, knowing that
and look at all the people it impacted. It impacted a lot of movie stars and people in Hollywood. Got impacted by this. That from a terrorism standpoint, that's ideal, right? You really want to scatter people and. If it was a terrorist act, it's a very effective one.
The only thing missing from that, right, is someone taking credit for it, because typically don't they?
Correct. But maybe they're afraid if they take credit for it, we'll bomb the rest of.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Again, devastating. A lot of ineptitude there. The reservoirs didn't have water in them. Stuff like that. It's really kind of tragic, and I think that's an example of what happens when you elect losers, right? I mean, George Carlin said this many, many years ago. If you elect selfish, incompetent people, what do you expect, right? And is that the best we can do? Is Chuck Schumer the best New York has got?
Nope.
Right?
Cuomo again?
Oh man, Cuomo is something else, boy. He helped cover this up. I mean, he had 31% of the people that were contracting this going to the hospital were dying.
Yeah, that's why he's
up.
going to be able to run for mayor, and he'll probably win because he
not if I
played
can help
ball.
Yeah, not if I can help him.
It's
He did play ball. He played ball. I mean, dude, they gave him an Emmy Award for his performance. Okay, he wrote a book, got a $5 million advance on the book. He's it's like New York had 8,600 people dead and Shanghai had 7 or 8. And he didn't pick up the phone and call the mayor of Shanghai and say, hey, what are you guys doing over there? How do you keep this under 10, bro? You don't have a phone that you can't call Shanghai? They have phones in Shanghai. You can call Shanghai. You can call the mayor and say, yo, bro, how come you only have 7 dead? He didn't do that. He's a piece of shit. That's why. You let those people die. There's a treatment for this bird flu, by the way, called Xofluza. Xofluza. Xofluza treats it with 1 tablet.
Why weren't they putting that in the damn shot then?
It's $150 a dose, and it came from Japan, so Fauci doesn't have a VIG on it. Fauci doesn't make anything. It's $150 a dose. It's called Xofluza. By the way, you get a prescription for it. You can buy it on Amazon. Amazon Pharmacy sells Xofluza. You need to get a prescription, which you can do via telemedicine. So you don't even have to leave the house. You can do a telemedicine thing with a doctor. Tell the doctor, I've got influenza, chills, body aches. They prescribe Xofluza. You get the prescription. You can order it right from Amazon. It's 1 pill once. That's it. 1 pill once, 24 hours, it's gone. It's a miracle drug. Xofluza, Baloxavir marboxyl, from Japan, from Shionogi, and it's distributed by Genentech here. Fauci must not have had a VIG on it.
Makes sense.
Well, John, this has been a crazy episode.
I hope you enjoyed it, Sam. I hope this is
well done. A lot of
I hope
questions,
this is what you paid for, bro. I hope
paradigm shifting thoughts. I'm not a big virus guy, but sounds super interesting to me, dude. I mean, I got to worry about some fucking asteroid right now. I got kids.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Exactly. So enjoy what you can. Keep an eye to this in the future, and it could be the end, right? And
then I don't have to worry about retirement.
God, I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope I'm wrong, and everybody's laughing at me the day after. I hope to God that's the case, right?
I respect that because I'm the same way. I'm like, I hope I'm wrong. I
Me
hope
too.
I'm wrong.
I hope to hell I'm wrong. But
you could be completely right and still be wrong. I mean, because with projections like this, especially this far out,
correct. I just want people to be aware. I just want people to know that you've been lied to. They're not going to stop lying. They've lied to you about this exact topic. We had an extinction level event, April 28th, 2020, and you were not told about it. They're going to continue to tell you, don't worry about Apophis. It's fine. We know it's going to fly right by. Don't worry about it. Bullshit.
Brother, I love you. One more time,
I love you
tell
too.
where they can find you.
Find me on Twitter at I_am_John Cullen. So that's it on Twitter or X. Or if you want to support my work, I do this full time. This is how I make a living. You can go to patreon.com and /I am John Cullen. And if you join a Patreon, we sell shirts and crap like that. But you can, I do videos for patrons where I'm covering, like here, it turns out it was in the pork, not just the chicken. Right, so we got all kinds of great stuff for the patrons at patreon.com, and it's like $5 a month or something like that. But that's how I make a living. That's how I support myself, and my I got a 10-year-old daughter with autism, so that's how I support her.
I got a daughter with autism too, buddy.
Yeah, so mine's 10 years old. She had one vaccine her whole life, MMR, when she was a year and a half old, and she's 10 and still struggles with speaking and all that. There is a drug that they're looking at for autism called leucovorin, 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 and it's used to help alleviate symptoms that people who are on chemo are having. So it's like to help chemo patients.
What's it
Leucovorin, leucovorin. And if I spell it wrong, you'll find it. It's close enough that you'll find it. So leucovorin, they're talking about using it for autism. And I'm looking into this with my ex-wife about, possibly looking into this for our daughter. And anybody who is suffering, right, it does this folinic acid thing, and it seems there's a connection. There's a doctor who's tried it. So again, it's something to look into. I'm not advocating for it. I'm advocating that you look into it and see if this might be something that people would consider. So I'm in this world, you're in this world, and everybody's looking for some way, some sort of relief for the kids so that they can communicate a little bit more easily. And if that's what this does, that would be great. So that's the story, gentlemen.
All right, John, one more time. You tell us where you can find. Great episode. Let's break it down. All right, let's get into it. Paradigm shifting. I just want to say something. I don't necessarily have the same views on viruses and all that stuff. I think you guys know me. But the show is about letting somebody share their work and get their work out. And I enjoyed the conversation. I'm interested to hear what you guys think of it, whether it's the guys on the show or you listening at home commenting what your thoughts are. So I know some of you guys probably wanted some pushback on a couple different moments, but my whole show is like, let people talk, let them get it out. My opinion on viruses, and my opinion on vaccines. But I'd love to hear what these two guys thought. Johnny, what'd you think?
Okay. Well, it certainly makes sense. I mean, there were two big
Let's
topics,
break it down into two things.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Asteroid first.
The Asteroid thing is
problematic.
This idea that this is all the whole what it has evolved into our space program now. What Elon Musk is doing since NASA, doesn't seem to do shit anymore. Is just all a cover for trying to a program to deflect asteroids, one in particular, and that they've been lying to us that COVID was,
and we're losing Bruce Willis.
It's funny. I heard this clip of Ben Affleck saying that he went up to what's the director of that film? Who does all those brain dead action movies of Armageddon.
Michael Bay?
Yeah, Michael Bay. Yeah, he said he went up to Michael Bay once and was like, why is it easier to train oil workers to be astronauts than it is to just train astronauts to be oil workers? And he said Michael Bay just told him to go fuck himself, because they were just on the set one day, because the movie makes no sense. I mean, you're not going to send people who work on oil rigs to space. You're going to train astronauts to do a little oil work.
It's called movie magic. Just go with it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
By the way, if that was made today, it would be the other way. Nerds would save everybody and get all the top shelf pussy. That would be the complete nerd writing right there.
Although I got to say, there's no better proof of what people actually want than the success, the late career success, I guess you could say, of Jason Statham, who just keeps doing these movies where it's the same character basically and just in different jobs. Like last one, he was the beekeeper. He was just a guy who was into bees, and he beats the shit out of everybody and saves somebody who got kidnapped. And then there's this new one now, same plot, almost identical plot, except he's like a construction worker this time, with a dark past, and he's saving people again. So yeah, We want.
Yeah, we like our archetypes.
Yeah, we like it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
You don't need to rewrite it. I mean, this, not to get too much into the current events, but if China blocks all American movies, you think Hollywood's in trouble now?
Yeah.
They're really in trouble.
Yeah, because that's where they've made it up.
That's where they took
made
in
up
all
their
this
loss.
money.
Yeah,
Yep.
their domestic losses.
Well, it's also a ton of money coming in from China to make the movies.
What happens with the NBA?
100%.
Well, I mean, every form of entertainment, which I would say the NBA definitely is, right? It's entertainment now more than anything. But yeah, yes, Sam, I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. I would like to see more about that because it also, the implication in there is that all the people who monitor these objects are kind of in on this deceit too, just keeping it hush. Which, I mean, entirely possible, I guess. But
I mean, anything is possible.
it's also scary. I mean, there's the thought of that there's.
Well, I mean, what do you do with it?
Yeah, and that's why they don't tell people. I mean, I'm curious more what you think about it as someone who is not even convinced that asteroids are a thing. I would imagine.
I think it's interesting. I think, I mean, like, again, I'm open-minded to everything. If you can prove it to me, and he has a lot of data, he's a super smart guy. I like him a lot. Maybe everything works in a weird way where we have the firmament and stuff outside the firmament. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
So we're still getting the house in Austin and not a bunker?
Or we get the house in Austin and put a bunker in there.
Now you're thinking.
That's the move. Yeah, dude, I want.
You got to ask yourself: do you want to live?
Yes.
You'd want to live that, Johnny? There'd probably be no internet, and you'd have.
I don't mind the internet.
You grew up without the internet.
No, we need some DVD.
Yeah,
no,
but do you want the Mark Zuckerbergs to be the ones that survive this?
No, exactly. I want to be part of the rewriting human civilization. Obviously, I want to survive. Dude, people have found ways to find to create joy in the most miserable circumstances. We'd figure it out, dude. We'd figure it out.
That is true. But fuck, it'd be hard, dude. Showering, like cold showers.
I love that the shit you're thinking of is like the least of our work. You're like cold showers, no internet, and it's like, dude, no, finding food. You know what I mean? Like
that's going to be the hardest part because all the animals could be just gone too.
Yeah, you're gonna be eating that powder food, that military food.
Yeah, well then you don't even think. I mean, what happens if you get a disease or something? Yeah, you got to make sure you have stuff to put yourself out of your misery too. No, but yeah, I'd want to. If I was prepared, obviously. I mean, I would like to give myself a fighting chance. Yeah, to see the end of the story. Sure, the final chapter in human civilization.
That's a fucking crazy episode, dude.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think about the COVID part of it now? I
don't believe in a virus. So
a virus to cover up a virus is like a double don't believe for you.
It's an interesting thing. So, I mean, it's just like, again, I'm open-minded to it.
Doesn't sound like you are, though, because you don't believe in
No,
viruses.
I am, dude. I mean, like, again, based on the data I got before the show, nothing makes me think there's a virus. But
it does fit you this thing, though. You've been saying about how they didn't isolate COVID. Maybe they didn't isolate COVID because they knew that, hey, no, it's the flu, and we need to cover it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, dude. And, do you save 10 million people by killing off 1 million people? That's an interesting take, too.
Do you think that if you had to make that decision, do you think that's a logical reason?
Well, if that's my only choice?
It's that old or herd immunity. You could be like, maybe we'll.
What'd you say?
Herd immunity.
Word?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We kind of just let's see if humans can handle it. Our own fucking our own system.
I mean, a lot. Going back to the asteroid, I'll go back to that. The whole landing thing does make sense. Like it fits into that.
Landing. What do you mean?
When he's talking about the landing of the rockets on a boat. That seems interesting to me, and it
Well,
does.
I must have stepped away when he was talking about the landing on the boats. What was he saying about that?
So he says Elon Musk has been attempting to land the rockets on basically a moving boat.
Yeah. But what was he saying that's for? I missed that part.
Basically, to land on the asteroid.
Oh, because I thought the program was just to hit the asteroid. That's what this DART thing is. It just impacts the asteroid, and if you hit it far enough away, you've mentioned this metaphor about how if a ship is just a few degrees off, even less than a degree, it ends up, once it gets to its destination, miles off course. It's the same with an asteroid. The farther away, you just give it a little bump. It ends up missing by hundreds, thousands of miles once it gets to us. So that's the idea of this DART program.
What blows my mind, like you said, Johnny, if they know it's coming, why can't we just deflect it?
Well, I think that's what he's saying they're trying to do.
What you just said there, dude. You're like literally like, dude, it's like marbles. It's like, it's not easy. If everything we say, if everything said in this episode is accurate, and we're not saying it's not, but we're saying, let's say it is. You're trying to land. You're trying to hit something in deep space.
No, they compare it to trying to hit a bullet with another bullet. Is what they compare it to. Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. No, that sounds.
Because think about it, this thing is going. If you believe the speeds we're told, this thing's going thousands of kilometers an hour, and you're launching a rocket also going at an insane speed, and they have to
hit
thousands of miles, hundreds of thousands of miles, millions of miles away. I mean, well, the odds of that.
They should just ask ChatGPT. That's where I've been usually going for my.
Dude, it really worries me how many people are appealing to authority with ChatGPT and Grok now.
Oh yeah, I catch them bullshitting all the time.
Because it lies. It just makes
I just
shit up.
ask it. I just ask it a couple questions, but for mostly I use it just to clean up my retard tweets.
Yeah, it's great for stuff like that, and it's great
That's
for
it.
like automated Wikipedia. But the problem is when its source information is wrong, like you can't. But that people all the time now, I'm seeing them like, well, Grok says this, and it's just that's what they want to happen, I think. But it's a. But go back to the COVID thing just real quick before we move on. So. Is he saying now that they are still dealing with this bird flu from back then? Like that's what all those he was saying that, right?
Yeah.
So even what we're seeing now is still a cover for the same virus going.
Well, I mean, they keep talking about bird flu all the time.
It's funny because my instinct is that they overblew how deadly it was. He was talking about how many people died. And I guess I do know people who died, though. You know people who died of COVID.
Well, what's the craziest statement is like once again, let's say everything is true, that the Barack Obama is a bigger scumbag than we even thought.
Yeah, that's the part that fits more than anything.
Yeah.
Is this guy being a scumbag?
Johnny, not that you would know exactly, but can you put a virus in a chicken, then eat it, and then kind of get it?
Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds.
Well, I think the bird flu is primarily like transmitted from
bird to bird.
I think it's like an aerosol thing. I don't know about that actually. That's a good question. Because usually if you cook something like that, it's going to be at temperature, so it's going to burn it off. But I do know that on the farms they're worried about your feet being like covered. They want you to cover your feet when you go into a farm and then take these disposable things off when you leave. So it must be something that's like trackable in that way. And they're very concerned about other birds being around these chicken farms. You have to go kill off any geese or anything like that around your chicken farm. You got to slaughter those. Dude, my brother-in-law is like the Hitler to Canadian geese. I mean, just hundreds of them. He'll go out on a weekend and just waste them because you can't have them around the farm.
Is that because it'll contaminate with the whole other disease type of thing?
They could contaminate the chickens, or the chickens could potentially contaminate them. I mean, it's just cross contamination. You don't want any animals though around chicken farms. You don't want it because they're so concentrated in one space, and it would just go through them like crazy. Bird flu.
It's a crazy episode, dude. It was intense episode.
Okay, bird flu is transmitted through direct contact with infected birds or contaminated environments, including surfaces or respiratory droplets, and less commonly through contact with infected animals like dairy cows. So there you go. Sounds a lot like coronavirus.
Hopefully, I'll be out of LA by then. We'll see.
By what? What do you mean? By the meteor? By the asteroid?
Yeah, I'll brace for impact.
That is crazy. That one though that landed in Africa. That I don't remember hearing about that. Do you?
Nope.
No.
And I remember Shepard coming on the show talking about that asteroid and going, okay.
Fascinating.
I don't know. I hope it hits the ocean if it's going to hit anything.
Then we're all fucked.
Yeah, it depends on what ocean. Yeah, if it lands in the middle of the Atlantic, I think we're over here will be all right, or maybe on the far side of the Pacific.
Yeah, I think if it hits over there by Australia, like on their left side.
Well, say goodbye to our listeners in Australia.
Bye, guys.
All those hot chicks down there in
Louise,
Australia.
dude.
Sorry.
Yeah, hot chicks, get out. Come here.
Yeah, come to California. Yeah, we've got plenty of room now that we've deported all of the illegal immigrants. So
Hey, how would you what would you think would happen if we finally found out that the asteroid was hitting Australia? Do you think like countries would let those people just come into their country like, yo, come over here, or you think we'd be very
they're
like
not Palestinians. People would let them into their country, obviously.
We always let hot chicks in.
No.
Always. We always say to the women, guys, figure it out. Girls, let's go. Over here. Yeah, it's crazy. That was a crazy episode, dude. Let's get into dude, it was a long episode, dude. I think we should just get into let's go to samtripoli.com. This comes out. I'll be in Tacoma. Tonight and tomorrow night. And if this comes out tomorrow, Thursday night, Burbank after that, Bellflower, Cleveland, Ohio, San Diego, more dates coming all the time. If you go to samtripoli.com, you can get all of the awesome websites. The above phone will be on the website soon too.
Nice.
Got some great. I'm going to be doing some more premium content this week as soon as I get done wherever I am to break that down. So go support me there. It's a great way to support the show. Help me keep it going. Johnny, I mean, we can kind of double bang it out, but I'm telling you, man, if you want to listen to Cash Daddies, you would have gotten in on this huge bump that just happened. Huge bump.
What are you talking about? Double bang it? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, we were going to talk about current events and how one of the big events today was that the stock market blew up.
Yeah, rebounded a little bit. It hasn't quite gotten back to where it was, but yeah, it was a big rebound today.
But if you bought during the dip, you're doing big numbers right now.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's a great way to get in on it. Go to patreon.com/Cash Daddies. Howie is constantly updating, constantly putting videos up during the week, and we'll help you. We're going to start putting some educational videos up too. How to do calls, how to do puts, all that stuff. So go to that. And then t-shirts, new t-shirts are up. New t-shirts. Yes, here we go. Common Sense, Tinfoil Hat, Project Bluebeam, Bigfoot thing. And then there's a new one I put out with my picture should be there for the revival. It's not there yet. That'll be up.
The one with you as Dragon Ball Z? As Goku?
Yeah.
That's a nice ass fucking animation of you.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
I'm gonna buy that Wake Up Aaron shirt. I like that.
Aw, Aaron, we miss you. We miss you, buddy. We miss you.
Too.
The golden years.
What's the website again?
Tinfoil Hat t-shirts or samtripoli.com.
Sam Tripoli, and then go to right there t-shirts.
Hey, dude, I'm getting updates all the time on the new Chaos Twins. Second episode is close to coming out. Chaos Twins 2 is out. And then we got all the affiliates here. More affiliates coming. Buy Gold and Silver, Rife Technology, Aquacure Hydrogen Brown Gas, Mineral King. Want to thank Rife Technology for taking care of us. The Chemical Free Body, if you're looking for supplements, I took it in between shows today. Harley Ray, who gave me a nice text, tell me how much they love us. Thank you guys so much. One of the best websites out there. EMF Rocks, our boy Joel Staley, and Brain Supreme are, you just heard Xavier Guerrero getting pretty zen on that show, and then Prometheus if you're looking for decentralized stuff. The telegrams are great. Anything else, guys? What would you like to promote, Xavier?
Hit that like button, subscribe, and I just want to thank everybody who came out to the We Don't Smoke the Same Comedy Show with Sam Tripoli. You guys packed it out, and we had fun. Sam had fun. Thank you.
And Johnny,
I just ordered my Wake Up Aaron t-shirt. We might be, we gotta do a Broken Sim sometime here. Hopefully coming at you before the end of the week. So
all right,
listen up for that.
Done. All right, let's enjoy. And I hope you enjoyed this very long episode. That was excellent. We thank John for coming on and enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. So you sent me this. This is from the Daily Mail. A local Pennsylvania politician staged a hate crime by planting a noose at her own desk, according to the police. A local politician in Pennsylvania has been accused of attempting to pose as a victim of a hate crime by planting a noose at her own desk, cops have
That's
said.
how hard it is to be somebody. You have to fake your own hate crimes.
Latarsha Brown.
Latarsha, right there. I'd be like, yeah, nobody's doing hate crimes against you, Latarsha.
She's latarded, if you ask me.
I gotta go, Johnny.
Finding the rope on her desk in the office on the morning of January 10th of this year, the department launched a criminal investigation and submitted the news to the Pennsylvania crime lab for DNA testing. When they came back, only her DNA was on the damn thing. Here's Latarsha right here.
It's just
got caught. Did Jussie Smollett teach you nothing? Honestly,
It's
did
so
you learn
dumb.
nothing from Jussie Smollett?
Dude, someone in I think Canada just got busted, some Jewish business, and they basically did an investigation, found out they did their own hate crime to themselves.
Why? Look at this picture, dude. It's just this tiny little thing that is like a rubber band tied into a knot or something. It's so dumb. Like, what do you get out of this, dude? Is it kind of like just mental disorder? You know what I mean?
Well, it's like there's this thing that happens in high school where girls fake their own suicide so they can get attention.
Oh, well, that's like is it Tom Sawyer where he goes to his own funeral, and he's like watching it? It's kind of that fantasy of
No, but
seeing what people
it's
would
like
say about
everyone
you.
going, "Oh my God, you're so loved. You're so loved. Oh my God!" Like there's I've heard Rogan talk about. There was a woman who was saying she was getting sexually stalked, and when they discovered the emails, she was sending them to herself. And then in England, there's some super fat chick that said she was getting like GR'd, gang R.
Got it.
And they found out she was doing it to herself. She was like cutting herself.
GR'd
with
herself?
Yeah. Well, she faked the crime to herself. And if you saw how fat this chick is, nobody's doing it. It would take 10 guys.
So
did I ever tell you the funny story about this female comic who forced her way into a weekend with me and Steve Byrne?
No.
And she's a crazy female, crazy person. And she showed up. She took my name off the marquee, put her name on the marquee.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, where was she? She was at the club or worked?
She was at the La Jolla Comedy Club.
She worked there?
Yeah.
The Comedy Store in La Jolla?
No, she was doing stand up. And it was like me and Steve Byrne were doing a
How did
weekend
she get
there.
access to the sign?
Because she went and bitched.
Oh, okay.
And
Complained
they
about it,
ch-
and then they did it. I
Yeah.
thought you meant like she physically went.
They took my name off, put her name on. And I don't care.
Well, she's got better credits than you or
No,
something? Like
she
what?
just was a crazy person. So.
Can you say who this is?
No. Because I don't want to get into it. So anyways.
We need a beef on this pod.
No, I don't want one.
We need a beef.
So I just want to be left alone, Johnny.
We need to grow
if we
this
can figure
pod.
out how to have a very successful podcast and then nobody.
Numbers have been good, by the way. The audio especially.
I know, but can we find a way for nobody to know who we are ever and we can just be left alone for the rest of our life? So anyways.
It's hard to do on a podcast.
It is hard to do. So anyways, the funniest thing. So she takes the master room of the condo that the comedians used to stay at. So I would sleep on the couch now. Steve would have the other bedroom because I was a nice guy. And I'd sleep on the couch.
Oh, I remember that place. Yeah.
So the first day we go there, right? And
they don't have that anymore, do they?
No, they Airbnb it because it's prime real estate, dude. So we go there. We stay at the condo. The first night we every night I would go down there. I'd go to this taco shop. So I take Steve because it's the first time down there.
What's his name? Taco shop? The fish taco place?
No, this is before I knew Don Carlos.
Yeah, Don Carlos.
Don Carlos
Ryan,
burritos are the best burritos in San Diego. He's in La Jolla, but the area. So I really love these rolled tacos that are right next to the condo. So we're about to leave, and we're like, let's just be nice. I'm like, hey, would you like to come with us to get tacos? She goes, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we go. As we're walking back, she pulls up in her car. She's like, hey, can you come with me? I'm gonna get some tacos. I go, why didn't you just walk with us? I just, and she goes, hand to God, she goes, I just don't want to get R'd.
What?
And I go, Cynthia, we're in.
There it is.
Oh, beep it. Okay, you can leave. I don't care. I go, hey, the only way you're in Pacific Beach, home of the hottest college women on planet Earth. The only way you're going to be involved in an R is if you're helping hold down the other chick. That's the only way you're involved in any kind of R going on in this area.
What was her reaction to that?
She just stared at me. I just walked off.
Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
That's great. That's Sam Tripoli right there for you folks. That's a good one. So Bryce Mitchell put out this video.
Real quick, I'll tell you a great story about Bryce Mitchell after. Go on.
Okay. Did you see this? I'm just gonna play this. All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
You did. Okay.
Good morning, y'all. I need all my Christian warriors to pray for me that I would have peaceful sleep. Every single night since the day before the press conference, I've had demonic dreams. Legions of demons are attacking me every single time I sleep, and not one time have I seen any peaceful sleep since that day. These demons surround me, and they try to fight me and provoke me to anger, and then the dream will switch, and they'll send beautiful women, and they're trying to get me to lust, to cheat on my wife. Satan's using two of my weaknesses to try to expose the evil in my own heart, which is anger and lust. However, where I am weak, the Lord is strong. So please pray for me, especially if you're fasting right now. Please pray that I would have peaceful sleep, that God would send Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, Samson, and King David to watch over me and protect me with the shield of faith.
Is Samson still going out on assignment?
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual
He wants Ninja Turtles to come.
And evil powers in high places. I'm not just fighting a man on April 12th. I'm fighting a man possessed by a legion of demons. When I simply said the name Jesus, he was provoked to maliciousness.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
What makes Kush even more chilling is its alleged use of human bones, reportedly sourced through grave robbing in Sierra Leone, where the drug has fueled a public health crisis.
Yeah, I don't know.
Charlotte, the former flight attendant, was arrested on May 12th after customs officers found 46 kilograms of Kush packed in 2 suitcases. She claims she's innocent, telling authorities she packed her bags in Bangkok, left them unattended, and didn't check them before her flight to Sri Lanka. Someone must have planted it, she told the press, insisting she had no idea the drugs were there.
That's crazy, huh?
She's cute, though.
She's so cute. And
She's
then
really
she said
pretty.
that she wouldn't give up whoever, she knows who planted it, but she won't give them up. But how do you have 2 suitcases worth and then you're not even gonna
Have you ever, I mean,
check it?
I don't know when's the last time you've flown, but whenever you're flying or just chilling, they're waiting for your flight, there's this public service announcement again. But it really tells you, it really tells you to do not leave your bags unattended.
Yeah.
Because they've said that they'll steal them, they'll swap them, they'll put things in them, and the next thing you know, you're a mule for the cartel.
But she said she knew, so it must have been someone like that she was like maybe like hanging out with, and then she knew that they were gonna something. She said like she knows who did it, but she won't give them up.
I don't know, but this is also one of those things where I kind of feel like it's like a scare tactic. Like, is someone really smoking bones?
They said that they have security at graveyards out there because they're stealing, they're grave digging, and they're going and stealing the bones and stuff. So if you have to have security at graveyards so that they don't steal your bones to make it.
You can't. I mean, scientifically, I don't think you can get high from bones.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat, tinfoil.